A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, the Goldbergs. Nothing of the brightness in the Carolina spring brings peace to Molly Goldberg's heart, for she knows that something is very, very wrong with her son, Sammy. When Molly and her family came south for Sammy's wedding, it didn't take Molly long to discover that something was wrong with the Allisons. Molly and Rosie know that Sammy wasn't away on a business trip. They know that Sammy intended to leave Sylvia, but they don't know why he's back. Sylvia has tried desperately to cover the errors in her life, and it seems at least that Sammy is going along with her in some respects because he didn't tell his mother the truth. For Molly, this was a challenge to discover it on her own, since her son's happiness is at stake. And for Mr. Allison, waiting impatiently with Jake for Sylvia to return with Sammy and the others, the stake is just as great. Listen.
So where are the Allisons? Where is Sammy? How long does it take him to get here from the store?
Oh, they'll be here in a minute, Jake. Sylvia's driving them all back.
How long must I wait to see that boy of mine already?
Sammy's a wonderful boy, Jake.
How far does the apple fall from the tree, eh?
You're all right, Jake.
Will Sammy do much traveling for your business, Allison?
Well...
Listen, Allison. You can give that Goldberg a comfort and expense account, and he'll come home with what he went to find.
Believe me, Jake, I'm going to do everything in my power to make this marriage a success. I like Sammy. If he was my own son, I couldn't do more than I intend to do.
I'll never forget it, Allison. And Sammy won't not neither. Sammy has a head on his shoulders, Allison. He's honest. And when he thinks he's right, nothing can turn him.
Isn't that the car?
I think so.
Yes.
Funny. Why Sylvia all alone?
Oh, maybe Sammy wanted to walk home with his mother.
You want to walk up and meet him, Allison?
No, you go, Jake.
There's my hat.
Why do you need a hat?
I'll be right back, Allison.
All right, Jake.
Sylvia drove the car around the back.
I suppose she's putting it in the garage.
I'll be right back.
All right, Jake. Hello? Hello? Get me 4-5, please. Yes. Carabelle?
Yes, Mr. Allison?
Get me a glass of water, will you?
Yes, sir.
Hello, yes? Who is this, Ed? This is me. Is Leah there? Well, where is she? You're sure she's not in? Yes, of course it's important. If her father is calling her, it's important. Well, what I want to tell her, I'll tell you. Now, listen, Ed. Sammy is back. And all this talk that has been going on has got to stop. Sammy is back, and the Goldbergs are here. And if Sammy and Sylvia are going to be married, I want peace in this family. You heard me. All right. Now, where's Leah? Where can I call her? Where? Oh. Well, what's the number there? 64. All right. Carabelle?
Yes, Mr. Allison?
Come here.
Yes. Miss Hill has come back and called downstairs.
Get my daughter Leah on the phone. She's at 64.
Yes. Mrs. Hill will come back all by herself. How come they all didn't come back together?
I don't know.
Maybe Mr. Stanley told his mother everything happened. There's been a heap of tall talking going on around here. That's what I think the Goldbergs ain't going to like.
I didn't ask you what the Goldbergs are going to like and what they're not going to like. Get my daughter Leah.
I'm just trying to help Mr. Allison. I wouldn't get Miss Leah in this no more than you have to.
Why?
She's going to do all she can to harm Miss Sylvia.
That's why I want to talk to her.
Mr. Allison, maybe I ain't too smart, and maybe I ain't been to school like I should, but I've gone to church all my life, and I stand by the Bible from cover to cover.
What do you mean, son?
And the things you learn in the good book is the things you should hold by, and I live by them. And that's plenty of learning for me.
That's plenty of learning for everybody.
Now, if you're going to call your daughter to warn and threaten her, you ain't going to get far, Mr. Allison.
What do you mean by that?
You've threatened and warned her up until now, and you ain't done nothing but nearly break Miss Sylvia's marriage. Call her if you want her, but tell her to come over. Open your arms to her like a father should. And stop telling her what you're going to do and what you ain't going to do. Tell her you want things to be like any other real family.
Real family.
Tell her that she's your daughter just like Miss Sylvia is. And they're both as equal. And there won't be no more trouble left, Mr. Allison. I know it. Because I know how a person feels when they're treated nice and human-like. And I know how they feel when they're pushed around, too.
So do I.
Miss Leah done took a powerful lot of punishing, and she won't take no more.
What do you mean, Tom?
Miss Sylvia?
What took you so long to put the car away?
Miss Sylvia, you've been crying.
I want to talk to my father, Clarabelle.
I didn't get Miss Leah on the phone, Mr. Allison.
Leah? But, Daddy, why are you calling Leah?
All right, Clarabelle.
Is there going to be a wedding, Miss Sylvia?
Hush your mouth.
All the little people has got big troubles. All the people got troubles. Always having trouble. Every time I tell them trouble.
Well?
Daddy, Sammy with his mother and Rosa.
Why didn't you drive them all home?
Well, Sammy wanted to walk home with them.
Now what am I going to do? What am I going to say to these people? How am I going to explain that I lied? I should have told them the truth in the first place. I should have said that you quarreled.
I asked Sandy not to tell him. I told him what we did.
What did he say?
He didn't say anything.
What do you mean he didn't say anything? What did he say to you?
Daddy, he hardly said anything.
Then why did he come back?
Daddy, I spoke to him. I pleaded with him. I begged him not to say anything. I don't think he will.
We should have spoken out like honest people when the Goldbergs came. What was there to hide?
Oh, it's all Leah's fault.
Oh, please, Sylvia, please. It's enough already with Leah's fault. There's always two sides to every quarrel.
Daddy.
I'm not blaming you. If Sammy tells his parents, well and good. We'll explain. And if he doesn't tell, then we won't have to explain. If the boy loves you, nothing matters. Now you go over to Leah.
What for?
I want you to make up and finish already with this I want and you want and she wants. Let there be peace already.
I told that to Leah already. Daddy, I told her that before she lied to Sammy.
That, too, I don't understand. However, there's no time now for searching through the past. Whatever you did and whatever she said, we'll forget all that. I want my children to be happy. I want to be happy. Let this wedding be a real celebration. Go over, Sylvia. Go over and talk to Leah. Once and for all, finish with the past.
But, Daddy, do you think that
I'm not thinking, Sylvia. I'm asking you to go over to Leah. I don't want to know one way or another. A boy like Sammy doesn't run away because of a handful of lies.
Daddy.
Now stop with those daddies already. If you love Sammy, Sylvia, if you want to marry him, and if he still wants to marry you, then go to Leah. Go to Leah and talk to her. I'll cancel everything I ever did. And at last, maybe we'll have a family here without internal wars and struggles.
But, Daddy,
Sylvia, from this moment on, all will be peace. Or I'll know why down to the last particle of truth.
What do you mean, Daddy?
Just what I said. Exactly what I said.
Is there anything that Sylvia can do now, no matter what she sacrifices of the things she has gained, that will bring peace and completion into her life? Nothing in her father's face brings comfort to her, and no word from Sammy has answered her plea. What does Sammy intend to do?
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. For the past 10 days, a gunman has been terrorizing the downtown area of your city. You know he's armed and dangerous. Your job? Stop him.
the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 5th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery details. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detective Staff Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from Metropolitan Division. It was 7:56 p.m. when I got to the City Hall. Robbery squad room.
Hey, buddy, you didn't have to make a special trip in to bring the tie.
Well, I might have forgot it tomorrow and left it in the car again. Here you are.
Oh, thanks. Hey, the card's still in the box, you want?
No.
Hey, look at this. Real pretty. So good with my brown suit. Real silk, too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty clever idea, putting a name on a tie like that. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing with ink and paper when I was a kid. You know, put a gob of ink on the paper and then fold it over.
Mm-hmm.
You got some pretty weird-looking pictures. This name business makes a nice, neat tie pattern, don't you think, Joe?
Yeah, if you don't mind the switch.
On the name, you mean?
Yeah.
No. Unless you're looking for it, you wouldn't know it said Joe Friday. Here, take a look. See? This is how it's going to be when I'm wearing it. It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, well, as long as you're satisfied, you're the one that's going to wear it.
Well, sure. Looks great to me. Of course, if you're going to turn your head sideways and read it, then you can see it says Joe Friday, but I don't think people are going to go to all that trouble. You think so?
No, I don't think so. You talk Stoner?
Yeah, says they'll meet us later.
All right, better get going, huh?
Yeah.
Want to get your coat? It's coming down pretty hard out there.
Right. You think it'll keep the suspect inside?
I don't know. It isn't going to work for us. Hot shot, I got it. Let's go. 211 at Flower and 14th. Frank and I left the office and drove out to the address. It was a small neighborhood liquor store. In spite of the heavy rain, a large crowd had already gathered in front of the place. We parked our car and tried to get into the store. Let us through here, folks, please.
Now, stop pushing. There's no reason to give you a special pass.
Police officer, let us through.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
It's all right. Let us through here.
I've been around, seen a lot of tough guys, but there was something wrong with this fellow.
Back there, Joe. Now.
You call the ambulance yet? Can't we do something for poor Claude? Don't just let him lay there.
You from downtown? That's right. Friday and Smith sent for robbery. Did you answer the call? Me and my partner. That him outside? That's right. You get a description? It's out. Okay.
Ain't anybody going to ask me what happened?
Yes, sir. Just a minute, please.
Seems all you fellas are interested in is what the guy looked like. Don't nobody want to know what happened?
Yes, sir, we do. If you'll wait just a minute, please.
No choice.
Anything more I can do here? No, not right now.
Okay. I'll be outside if you need anything.
Right, thanks. All right, sir. You want to tell us?
About time.
What's that?
All this running around and yelling. Wonder you fellas don't catch anybody. Don't slow down long enough for me to tell you what happened.
Uh-huh. You want to go ahead?
Worst thing I ever saw in my whole life. Most terrible.
Yes, sir. Were you alone in the store when the shooting occurred?
No.
Well, who else was there?
Claude, Anita, and me.
Claude's the victim, that's right?
Yeah. That's him there.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think somebody ought to do something for him? Seems like the ambulance ought to be here.
Well, he's dead, sir.
Claude?
That's right.
You've got to catch the fellow who done this. Most brutal thing I ever saw. No reason for any of it. That guy was off his rocker.
You mentioned somebody named Anita. Is she still here?
Yeah, in the back room. She wasn't feeling too good. Almost scared her half to death. Went back there to take an aspirin and lay down, scared.
I wonder if we could talk to her.
You have to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll go get her. You just wait here. Anita? Anita? It's me, Hanley. Can you come out? Police. They want to talk to you.
We don't like to bother you, lady. We'll try to be as brief as possible.
It's all right.
Would you give us your name?
This is Miss Anita Blaine. I'm Hanley Dawson. I don't think you told us your names.
Miss Frank Smith, my name's Friday.
Hello.
How you doing? Is there anything we can get for you, Miss Blaine?
No, I'm all right now.
All right. Would you tell us what happened?
We was back of the counter playing a game of cribbage.
You and the victim?
Yeah, me and Claude. His full name's Claude Langford. We was there playing the game.
Were you in the store at the time?
No, I came in later.
I'm trying to tell you in the right order. Can't do it if you're going to keep interrupting.
All right, you go right ahead.
Oh, we were having a good game. Claude was ahead, already made the first turn. Oh, my crib and I really had a good hand. Might have caught him.
Yes, sir.
We were just about to play the hand when the door opened. Kind of surprising.
Why is that?
Didn't figure anybody'd be out on a night like this.
I see.
It was this young kid.
All right, go ahead.
come in and asked me where we kept the canned nuts. You know, cashews and almonds.
Yes, sir.
Pointed it out for him. He went over to have a look.
Mm-hmm.
Claude and me started back to the game, but the kid found what he wanted, and he come up to the counter.
All right.
I got up to wait on him. Handed me a $5 bill for 2 cans of peanuts.
Yeah.
Opened the register to get change. That's when he pulled the gun.
Well, where'd he have the gun?
In his overcoat pocket. It was funny, though. And not funny, ha-ha, but funny. Odd. You know?
How do you mean that?
Well, you know how most raincoats have a little slit in the pocket so you can reach into your pants pockets without unbuttoning your raincoat?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, the kid unbuttoned his coat and reached right through the slit with the gun. Kind of like this. See? See? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, what did he say when he showed you the gun?
Like this. This is a stick-up. Keep your mouth shut and you might not get hurt. Might. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Told both Claude and me to come out from behind the counter. Said for us to lay down on the floor.
Yeah.
We did like he said, you know. There was just something about that kid, so you had to go his way.
Mm-hmm.
He made us lay down right there, where Claude is now, on our stomachs.
Yeah, what happened then?
Went over and took the money out of the cash register. Then he really got sore. I thought he was going to explode.
Why, do you know?
Wasn't much for him to take, only about $20, $25. Guess he expected more.
I see.
He come over to where me and Claude were on the floor. Told us to take the money out of our pocket. Stood there with a gun pointed right at us. He was mad.
Mm-hmm. He did what he said.
You just bet we did. I only had about $6 on me. Gave it right to him, though.
Yeah.
That's when Anita here come into the store. Just walked in, like a rabbit into a fox's trap.
That's right. I didn't have any idea what was going on.
Couldn't you see through the door?
I guess I should have, but it was raining so hard I didn't take the time.
Glass was kind of steamed up, too. Made it tough to look in.
I see. Well, what happened when the hold-up man saw you?
He told me to keep my mouth shut, not to make a sound, and get down on the floor.
Just like us.
Mm-hmm.
He grabbed my purse and took the wallet out, went through it and took the money.
How much was it?
Just a couple of dollars. I came over to get a bottle of wine, and I only took what I needed.
All right. You want to go on?
He started on Claude. Told him to empty his pockets.
Yeah.
Claude didn't take too kindly to the way this fellow was acting. If he'd just come in and taken the money, it might have been different. But Claude don't like to be shoved around.
Yeah.
He did like the kid told him, though. Emptied his pockets right out.
I see, sir.
Well, you'd just figure the man was real sore when he saw how much money he was going to get.
Yeah.
You see, Claude don't work. He's got some kind of pension. All alone in the world, he usually don't have much money. Main reason he comes over to play cards. He ain't got nothing else to do. And it's free.
Mm-hmm. How much do you have on him tonight?
37 cents. Kid saw that. I thought sure he's going to kill us all.
He sure acted like it.
Then he figured maybe Claude was holding out on him. Told him to turn his pockets inside out.
He did like he was told.
Yeah.
When he did, something fell out of his pocket. A coin hit the floor and rolled around, disappeared under the counter over there.
The man with the gun saw it and got real mad. Said Claude tried to get away with something. Said for him to go pick up the coin.
Claude told him if he wanted it that bad, he could get it himself.
Yeah.
Fella just looked at Claude for a minute, and then put the gun right against his head. Right here, see? Didn't say a word. Just pulled the trigger.
He was crazy.
No reason for it. Claude must have been dead when he hit the floor.
Just brutal.
What did you do then?
Ran outside.
Did you try and follow him?
No, sir. Me and Anita were trying to see if there was anything we could do for Claude.
Did the man get into a car, do you know?
I didn't see. Might have, but I didn't see it.
Did you hear a car?
No.
Uh-huh. Have you ever seen the man around here before?
Not that I remember. A lot of people go by the door. Hard to pick one, make it stand out.
You'd know him again if you saw him, though, would you?
I think so.
I would.
Ma'am?
Never forget the way he looked at me. Like some kind of animal.
I see.
Something about his eyes. He looked crazy, real wild.
Well, how do you mean that?
Well, he wasn't looking right at us. Like there was somebody standing behind me. He was looking at them. He couldn't focus, you know.
I know what you mean.
Say, did you see the coin that Langford dropped?
No, just heard it hit the floor.
Uh-huh.
Find it?
I think so. Look, it doesn't make much sense. Take a look at it.
Yeah.
What is it?
Streetcar token. The men from the crime lab arrived and photographed the store. Diagrams were made showing the position of the body, and the premises were checked thoroughly. The victims were taken to the city hall to check their mug book. They were unable to make an identification. A canvass was started in the immediate area in the hope that we might be able to turn up a witness to the shooting. One of the uniformed officers talked to a newsboy who had seen a man run from the liquor store. Frank and I went down to talk to him.
Yeah, I saw him. I heard this noise like a backfire, and then this fellow came out of the store and started to run down the street.
You get a good look at him?
No, he went down that way, away from me.
You see if he got into a car?
No, he ran around the corner. I didn't think a lot about it till after the whole thing was over.
Could you describe him for us?
No, I just got to look at his back. Nothing about that'd stand out.
Uh-huh.
Might talk to that girl, though.
What girl?
Well, when the fellow ran out of the store, he almost knocked her down, ran right by her.
You know who she is?
Not right out. Sure feel like I do.
What do you mean?
I see her every week.
Where's that?
Home every Saturday night.
What's that?
She's on television.
From the witness, we got the time of day of the television show. We contacted the network and obtained the information that the girl's name was Betty Martin. They went on to tell us that she was working in a nightclub in Beverly Hills. Frank and I drove out to see her. She was sitting at a table talking to some people, and we asked the waiter to tell her we'd like to see her.
Hello, you want to see me?
Yes, ma'am. Will you sit down, please?
Thank you.
Here, I'll get that chair for you.
What can I do for you?
We're police officers, Miss Martin. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday. How do you do?
Hello.
We understand that you're in the area of 14th and Flower tonight. Is that right?
That's right. Why?
Well, there was a hold-up and shooting down there. It's possible that you might have seen the man who did it.
Oh, I don't think so. My manager and I went down there to listen to a group that's playing, but as far as I know, I didn't see anybody else. Oh, excuse me. I'll be right back. If you wait until I'm finished, I'll tell you what I can.
Well, it's rather important, Miss Martin. We'll wait.
Well, so's my job. I'll do one song, and then I'll be back.
Right. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Any questions?
Sure, a pretty song.
Well, thank you very much. It's a new song written by a fellow named Arthur Hamilton.
Yes, very nice.
Now, what's this about a man I'm supposed to have seen?
Well, we told you there was a shooting at 14th and Flower.
Uh-huh.
Well, one of the people in the neighborhood recognized you, and he tells us that the suspect ran right by you. Is that right?
Gee, I don't remember. Just a minute. Oh, now I remember. Yeah, he ran out of the store, almost knocked me down, didn't even stop to say anything.
Did you get a good look at him?
Well, he ran into me.
Can you tell us anything about him?
Well, I'm afraid not. I didn't pay any attention. It's something that happens and you don't think about it, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Would you know the man if you saw him again?
I don't think so. The whole thing happened so fast.
There's nothing about him that you remember.
No, unless it was his eyes.
Ma'am?
Well, his eyes, like he was looking right through you.
11:46 p.m. Frank and I went back downtown. The search for the killer had spread throughout the city. Additional units from all divisions were called in to help. From the description given us by the victims and witnesses, it appeared more than likely that the suspect was a narcotics user. If this was true, it was more than possible that he'd cut down anybody who got in his way. Frank and I contacted the office and talked to Captain Donahoe. He'd taken over the search for the gunman. Because it was impossible to cover all of the liquor stores in the area, it was decided to ask the owners to close. Frank and I were assigned to places along Vermont Avenue. The first 6 stores we contacted cooperated. By the time we got to the 7th, the rain had stopped. We parked the car in front of the place and walked in. At first, there was no one in sight, but then in the storeroom, we found the owner. He was lying on the floor, his head buried in his arms.
You go away. Leave me alone.
You all right?
I am now. I want to stay that way. Now, you get out of here.
Look, we're police officers. What's the matter with you?
Now, don't try that with me. I know who you are. You got all the money. There's no more to take.
Come on, this is no joke, fella.
Now, listen. I remember what you said. I ain't going to get up from here for another 2 minutes. I can see my watch. Still got 2 minutes.
Come on, get your head up from the floor. You can see this card.
Huh?
It's an identification card. Here, see it?
Are you sure?
Well, you're looking at it.
Now, look, if this is a joke, I'm not going to like it.
Come on. Don't worry about it. Now, get up. Come on.
Well, it's about time you got here. It's a terrible thing when a man's robbing his own store and nobody's going to take the time to protect him.
You were held up tonight?
Yes, sir, not more than 3 minutes ago. Guy left. He told me to stay where I was for 5 minutes.
What did he look like?
Huh?
The man who held you up, can you describe him for us?
Yeah, a young kid, just out of his teens, roaming around the streets, threatening citizens. You cops ought to do something about it.
What did he look like?
Well, he was dark, black hair, black eyes, wildest looking eyes you ever saw. One look at him, and you know he meant what he said. Stay put, and I did.
I'll call him.
All right.
What's he going to do?
Put out a broadcast.
For the hold-up man?
That's it.
Well, I don't want to tell you your business, but it sure seems like a waste of time.
What's that?
Well, if he hears it, he ain't going to give himself up.
The broadcast was put out to all units. From the description given by the victim, we were sure it was the suspect. All of the cars on the perimeter of the search area were drawn in, and the entire vicinity was surrounded. It took a little over 20 minutes to get the cars into position. Frank talked with Captain Donahoe at the corner of Vermont Avenue and Beverly Boulevard. After the meeting, he came back to the car.
Well, that does it.
Yeah?
Area's secure.
Were they trying to nail him down?
No. We figured to keep the area surrounded, wait till morning, and then move in. You think he's still here?
We'll know in 3 hours. The preliminary search of the neighborhood netted nothing, and the area was secured for the night. The rain kept up. All officers involved in the operation were kept on duty. At 6:20 a.m., the circle began to tighten. House by house, the space where the killer could be hiding was eliminated. All cars into and out of the area were stopped and searched. 7:15 a.m., the perimeter began to narrow. At 8:46 a.m., a call went out to all units.
All units on special detail in the vicinity of Vermont Avenue and Beverly Boulevard. Regarding the suspect wanted for murder, possible suspect believed to be in the vicinity of Vermont and Catalina Street. Attention, all units. Special detail. Regarding the suspect wanted for murder, possible suspect believed to be in the vicinity of Catalina Street and Vermont Avenue.
That's us.
Yeah.
Be a break if it's him.
Right.
All units on special detail in the vicinity of Vermont Avenue and Beverly Boulevard. Regarding the suspect wanted for murder, possible suspect believed to be in the vicinity of Vermont and Catalina Street. Attention, all units. Special detail. Regarding the suspect wanted for murder, possible suspect believed to be in the vicinity of Catalina
Sure doesn't
Street
make
and
sense.
Vermont Avenue.
Why do you kill a man for a streetcar token?
According to the report received by the complaint board, a woman in the vicinity had seen someone run through her backyard. When she shouted at the person, he continued running and disappeared into the alley. All cars in the area converged, and a complete search was started. As time went on, the possible hiding places narrowed, and finally the suspect was left with less than a block in which to conceal himself. Frank and I joined the officers on foot. After 20 minutes, we found ourselves in the backyard of one of the houses on the street.
Looks like a chicken house back there. Better check it, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
You got it covered?
Yeah. Joe.
Sure. All right, come on out. Keep your hands where we can see him.
Don't shoot now. Please don't shoot. I get...
Stand still. Right where you are.
I'm doing like you say. Don't shoot.
All right, get up against that wall. Come on. Put your hands up there. On the wall. .38 revolver.
I'd have given it to you. I don't want any trouble.
Always works out that way, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, you guys are big as long as you're holding the gun. As soon as somebody else has got it, you fall apart, don't you?
I don't want no lectures, cop. Just take me in. That's all you got to do. Take me in and make a book.
We'll do that.
We'll end up on a limb anyway. You got nothing to hold me on.
Is that so?
Yeah, I've been around cops a long time. I learned it the hard way. Don't tell them nothing. That's the way to make it. Don't tell them nothing.
Well, you missed one of the big points.
Huh?
This gun you were carrying.
Yeah?
Maybe that'll tell us. The suspect was taken to the city hall. He was mugged and fingerprinted. From his prints, we identified him as Max Hanford. He had a record listing several arrests for violation of the State Narcotic Act and 2 counts robbery. However, he'd never served time on any of the charges. We talked to him for an hour without result. 10:40 a.m.
Why don't you leave me alone? I got nothing for you guys.
Well, you keep believing that. We got people coming in who are going to lay it on you.
For what?
211 and murder.
You're out of your mind.
We got you made on all counts, any way you slice it.
You're on the needle, cop.
Is that so?
Yeah, you got one beef on me. Most you can take me for is stealing chickens. You sit down and try to think what a judge is going to say when you read that off in court.
All right, Hanford, you keep that smile on your face. You go right on believing that we can't press a charge that'll stick. Now, we got a half a dozen people on the way in here. They'll point you out in a crowd. And as soon as they do, we'll drop you in a cell and hold you ISO. Won't be long till that yen gets so big you'll be yelling for us to turn you loose.
You got it all figured, haven't you?
That's right down the line. You're a hype. You're hooked, and you're hooked bad. Everything's working for us. You go through the cure, and you'll tell us what we want to know, and you'll be glad you got the chance to talk. We don't need your help. We're home free without you. You keep up the way you're acting, see how far it gets you.
You really figure you can box me in?
Without a door.
When'd you call the people?
What's that?
To point me out.
A little while ago.
Well, can you get them before they leave home?
Why?
No reason for them to make a trip. I'll give it to you.
You want a stenographer?
Might as well. I got nothing to lose. I'll give you the story. I'll get it.
Go ahead.
Lousy deal.
Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't want to kill that fella, you know.
Well, why'd you do it?
I was high. I just had a pop. I felt like I owned the world. It'd be pretty sore to think the guy was holding out on me. I guess you think that's a pretty bad reason.
That's right.
People don't understand. You get a bad habit working on you, you'd do anything to feed it.
Is that right?
Sure, you let me talk to anybody. Let me tell them what it means to have a supply shut off. I'll tell them what it's like. I don't care who it is. You put me in front of a jury, I'll tell them.
Yeah, well, you'll get the chance.
I'll tell them it wasn't my fault I got hooked on this stuff. That's why I did it. I'll tell them.
Well, while you're at it, you can tell them something else.
What?
Why you started taking narcotics.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 16th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles.
Max Gifford Hanford was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. Because the jury failed to return a recommendation for clemency, he received the maximum sentence and was put to death in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
escaped tonight to occupy France and the underground. The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the second, is Operation Fleur de Lis, written and directed by William N. Robeson. Today, the 14th. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the forgery detail. For the past several months, a man posing as an actor has been passing worthless checks in your city. You've got a description of the suspect, but no lead to his whereabouts. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 10th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of forgery division. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Welch. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office from a cup of coffee. It was 4:12 p.m. when I got to forgery. The squad room.
The reporter herself told her it was her duty as a citizen. It is a duty, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Mrs. Neskett, this is my partner, Sergeant Friday.
Mrs. Neskett?
No, Sergeant.
Seems Mrs. Neskett's mother got stuck with a bum check, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
She's a landlady out on Western.
Well, not a landlady, exactly. Only rents a couple of rooms, more for company than anything. Dad left her plenty to get by on.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'd help her out if it was necessary. Dick and me. Dick's my husband. We'd help her out.
Mm-hmm.
So far, she's managed pretty well by herself, but if she pulls any more fool stunts like this... Tony has a $3 bill. See right there? No such account. Big as life. Stamped all over it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand her. I just don't understand it at all.
Well, anybody can take a bad check, Mrs. Neskett, no matter how careful they are. Even with good identification, you can be fooled.
When they do, they report it, don't they?
Well, yes, ma'am, usually.
Look at the date. Way last December, over a month ago.
Yeah.
Over a month ago, and she hasn't done a thing about it. Didn't intend to either. Didn't even want me to know. Good thing I started early this year.
Early, ma'am?
On her income tax. How I found out about the check.
Oh.
I used to work in a tax office, so I always make out Mother's return. If I didn't do it, I don't know who could. Doesn't keep any records. Just stubs and a few bills. Well, someday they'll audit her and she'll find out.
Well, why didn't your mother report this check herself, you know?
You tell me. The man had an honest face. That's about all I can get out of her.
How'd she happen to take it?
It was supposed to be for his first month's rent.
Well, if she's not out any cash.
Sure she's out cash. $20. That's what she's out. He made the check for $70. A month's rent's only $50. Not a lot of money, but $20 is $20.
Yes, ma'am.
There's the principal, too.
Yeah.
An actor or something like that.
Ma'am?
The fellow gave it to her. Mother says she remembered his name from the movies. That's how she happened to take the check. I don't see why she'd trust an actor any more than she would somebody else.
Can I see that, please?
Mm-hmm.
Parker Allington. You ever hear of him, Joe?
Allington?
Uh-huh.
Well, I think it sounds familiar. It was in pictures when I was a kid, I believe.
Oh?
As I remember, I never cared much for him, though. If it's the same guy, the parts he played.
What do you mean?
Heavies. We ran the name Parker Allington through R&I, and we turned up one package listing a drunk arrest in 1935. We called the Screen Actors Guild to see if they could help locate him. They said they'd check, and they asked us to call back in an hour. 4:30 p.m. We left the office and drove out to the Western Avenue address Mrs. Neskett had given us. It was a 2-story Spanish stucco with a rooms for rent sign in the front window.
Somebody's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Miss Crimp?
Yes.
We're police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Police officer?
That's right, ma'am.
Anita.
Beg pardon?
My daughter, Anita. She sent you.
Yes, ma'am.
I told her not to. She never does anything I tell her. Never has.
You all right if we come in?
Living room's a mess.
Don't worry about it, ma'am.
I was just putting away the ornaments from the tree. It was raining last week when I took it down, and I couldn't get out to the garage.
Yes, ma'am.
I won't press any charges.
Well, that's up to you.
Not against that poor man, I won't. And you can't force me to press charges.
No, ma'am.
Suppose you tell us about the check.
Isn't much to tell.
Your daughter says this man Allington gave it to you for rent.
Here, and to get that box out of the way so you'll have some place to sit.
I'll take care of it, ma'am. All right, I'll put it here.
Oh, yes, fine, thanks.
The check was for rent, is that right?
That's right.
When did you take it?
Last month sometime. A week or so before Christmas. Well, the date's on it, isn't it?
December 9th?
Oh, that's what it says.
Have you ever seen Allington before? You ever met up with him?
Not in person. I may have seen him in pictures. He said he'd been in a lot of pictures. He seems familiar.
Well, now, ma'am, how'd he happen to come here to rent a room?
We saw the sign out in front of the window. He was living in a hotel downtown and was out this way visiting friends.
Did he mention the name of the hotel?
No, I don't think so.
What about the people he was visiting?
Well, what about them?
Well, did he tell you who they were?
Well, he may have. I couldn't say for sure. Not now.
Now, you said he saw the sign.
In the window.
Yes, ma'am.
He came in and asked about the room, so it was still for rent. I showed it to him. Upstairs in front, with a real nice view.
He agreed to take it, did he?
Straight off. Said he used to live in a house something like this when he first came to California years ago when his wife was alive. Sort of reminded him of better times. That's how he put it.
And he gave you this check for the first month's rent?
Yes. I suppose Anita already told you. He made it out for $20 extra.
Why was that?
Well, he needed some cash money to hire a cab and move his things out here.
And you gave him the cash,
$20. I couldn't turn him down.
Why not?
Well, he just seemed honest, that's all. You can tell when a person's honest.
Yeah, sometimes.
And he was so anxious to get the room. He wanted to be all moved in time for the holidays. He wanted to be with people, I suppose. Oh, I felt sorry for him.
Did you ask for any identification?
Oh, no, there wasn't any reason. I recognized his name. Besides, he was going to be living here. If there wasn't anything wrong with his check, he'd be around to make it right.
And you never heard from him again?
Now, that doesn't mean he was trying to cheat me.
Well, it looks that way, ma'am.
Now, you folks are policemen. It's your job to suspect people of being crooked, and I don't blame you. It's your job.
Yes, ma'am.
$20?
Ma'am?
$20. Is that reason to throw a man like Mr. Allington in jail?
Well, it might be more than $20.
Well, that's all I gave him. Don't you believe me?
Yes, ma'am. This man has passed quite a few checks.
I told you before, I won't press charges.
Yes, ma'am, you told us.
You don't understand. He didn't mean any harm.
You sure about that, Miss Crimp?
I'm a pretty good judge of human nature. I ought to be by now.
Yes, ma'am.
He's had lots of troubles, Mr. Allington.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of troubles. An actor like him probably pulled down a fancy salary and never had any worries. Now it's all gone. All his money, his wife, everything. If he'd never been rich, it wouldn't be so hard. You don't miss something you've never had.
Yeah.
If you're finished with me, I'd like to get on with my housework.
Mind if we use your phone?
Well, it's in the hall. I'll show you.
That's all right. I'll find it. Thank you.
You know, I didn't mean any offense, Mrs. Stern.
Oh, I suppose it's just your job. There's some cookies there, will you, dear?
I'd like to, but no.
They're homemade.
That's very good, aren't they?
Oh, go on. What?
Miss Breckhart, please. I'll wait if you don't mind. Thank you. Hello, Miss Breckhart. This is Sergeant Friday. I spoke to you a little while ago about Parker Allington. Yeah, that's right. You asked me to call back. Uh-huh. When was that? Oh, I see. Yes, it certainly does. You bet. Thank you very much. Right. Goodbye.
I remember this kind when I was a kid. My mom used to make it for Christmas.
Oh, well, maybe you'd like to take a few home with you. I've got plenty extra.
Oh, thanks anyway. They wouldn't let me inside the front door if I showed up with an armload of cookies. You ready, Joe?
Yeah. We'd like you to come with us, Miss Crimp.
Hmm? Well, what on earth for?
I want to see if you can identify the man who gave you that check.
You mean you've already arrested him?
No, ma'am.
Well, I don't understand.
Well, we want to show you some mug shots, some photographs.
You want me to pick out Mr. Allington's pictures?
If you can.
Now, that's silly. You don't need me for that. The studios must have pictures of him in newspapers. Why, that's downright silly.
It wasn't Allington, ma'am.
What?
The fellow who passed that check. What'd you find out? Allington died 3 years ago. Miss Breckhart at the Screen Actors Guild had checked with a motion picture relief home. They reported that Allington had lived there from 1949 until a heart attack caused his death several years later. We managed to convince Mrs. Crimp that she'd been taken by a professional swindler. Down at City Hall, we showed her mugshots of known bad check artists.
No, that's not him.
Oh, how about this one?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure not. No, that's not him either. He was older.
Well, the picture might be out of date.
Even so.
Well, that's it. Well,
Miss Crimp.
Yes?
Could you describe him for us?
Well, he was medium-sized, little taller than you are, maybe.
Yeah.
how old would you say he was?
Oh, about in his 60s.
Gray hair?
That's right.
Any marks or scars?
No, not that I noticed.
How about his eyes?
Beg pardon?
What color were his eyes?
Well, I couldn't say. He was only there for a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
He just seemed like an average man. For his age, gentleman, nice-looking, sort of distinguished.
Anything else about him?
No, except for his expression.
What do you mean?
He was kind of sad, unhappy, like he'd been through a lot. Guess that won't help you, though.
Good night.
Is that all?
Yes, ma'am. We'll take you home now.
Officer,
Yes, ma'am.
would you mind doing me a favor? I'd appreciate it.
What is it, Miss Crimp?
Don't tell my daughter about all this. I mean that it wasn't Mr. Allington, that I let somebody trick me. She'd say it proves that I'm not able to take care of myself. I'd never hear the end of it. She treats me like a child, as it is. Now, you don't have to tell her, do you?
No, ma'am.
I'd sure appreciate it. Not that she doesn't have my best interests at heart, but nobody likes to be criticized all the time, especially by their own flesh and blood. You got any children, Sergeant?
No, ma'am.
Well, then you don't understand how I feel.
Yes, ma'am. Maybe I do.
You couldn't.
We drove Miss Crimp to her home, and then we checked out for the night. By the end of the week, 2 more landladies in the Western Avenue area had reported receiving bad checks from a man who claimed to be Parker Allington. Their stories tallied almost word for word with what Miss Crimp had told us. January 13th, 4:45 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office after an interview with one of the victims.
You'd think that guy would wise up. Can't go on using a dead actor's name forever. Somebody's going to catch on.
Well, they haven't so far.
Well, sooner or later.
Thought you were on a diet.
Huh?
I thought you were on a diet.
Well, Joe, I got to keep up my strength.
Yeah.
Person needs a certain amount of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so high on calories. Read an article the other day. Teaspoonful of sugar, only 35 calories.
Have you lost any weight yet?
No, I'm holding my own.
You haven't lost any, though.
No, I don't want to get thin, Joe. Just sort of watching it, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Forgery, Friday. Yes, ma'am, this is the right extension. Could you speak up a little, please? I can't hear you. Now, just a minute. All right, go ahead, please. That's 2238? Yes, ma'am, I had it. Yes, ma'am, right away. Well, looks like you had it figured.
How come?
Somebody did catch on. Woman over near Los Feliz Boulevard.
Yeah?
Fellow's trying to give her a phony check.
Trying?
Yeah, he's still there. Frank and I drove out to a side street just south of Los Feliz Boulevard. It took us 20 minutes to get to the house. When we pulled up in front of the place, a lady was standing on the porch. She spotted our car and walked down the steps.
You the policeman?
Yes, ma'am. My name's Friday. This is Frank Smith.
Hello, how are you?
How you doing, ma'am?
You certainly didn't hurry.
Well, the traffic's kind of heavy this time of day.
Well, why didn't you use your siren?
We didn't want to scare him off.
Well, it's too late for that. He left about 10, 15 minutes ago. Oh, I'm Daisy Williker. Suppose you need that name for your record.
Yes, Mrs. Wilkers.
Not Mrs.
Oh.
You see which way he went?
He took a bus on the corner, probably in Hollywood by now.
Well, why'd he leave in such a rush, do you know?
Got suspicious. Might have heard my phone call. I had to talk so loud to make you understand me. I tried to keep him here as long as I could. I did my best. You can't ask more than that.
No, ma'am, thanks.
Well, you might as well come inside. Suppose you want a full report. That's the regular procedure, isn't it?
Are you familiar with police procedure, are you?
Watched on television, go to the movies. They got it all down pat.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he came up to my door. Oh, must have been an hour ago by now. At least an hour.
Yes, ma'am.
Asked if I had a room for rent. I told him that's what the sign said. He just laughed, like he thought I'd been making a joke. Didn't know I was serious.
You show him the room?
Well, I tried to. He hardly even glanced at it. Then he said this was exactly what he'd been looking for. That's when I first began wondering about him.
What else did he say?
That he used to live in a house like this when he was a little boy back east, and that it reminded him of home. I figured he was softening me up to get me to lower the rent. Well, two can play at that game.
Yes, ma'am. What did you do?
Well, I upped it $10. Room's not worth a cent over 45. I asked 55.
Mm-hmm.
That way I'd be able to come down when he started playing on my sympathies. Wouldn't be out anything either.
Yeah.
Didn't bat an eye. When I told him it was 55. Said he'd take it, just like that. I knew right away something was wrong.
What happened then?
Well, we came downstairs into the living room here.
Go ahead, please.
Well, I said I wanted the first month's rent in advance. A lot of them try to pay you by the week. Before you can turn around, they're behind. Takes forever to get rid of them once they're moved in. I always insist on a full month.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, didn't bat an eye at that either. Brought out a checkbook.
Now, did he ask if he could make it for a little extra?
How'd you know?
Well, he's been around before.
25 extra. That's what he wanted. If he'd been around so long, why haven't you picked him up?
Well, we're trying, ma'am.
A few minutes earlier this afternoon, he'd solved the whole case.
Well, we're just as anxious to solve it as you are, Miss Walters.
Did he say why he needed the extra cash, ma'am?
Something about cab fare to get his things out here.
That's a lot of cab fare.
That's my own words, right to his face, exactly what I said. He said he'd have to clear up his hotel bill, too. Claimed they wouldn't take a check if he was moving.
And that's when you called up.
Of course not. Didn't call you until I was sure the check was no good. Not that I would have cashed it. But there's no point in running to the police until you got the facts to back you up.
Mm-hmm. What made you so sure it was phony?
Well, the way he signed it.
What do you mean?
Parker Allington.
You knew he wasn't Allington.
Well, how could he be? Allington's dead. You didn't know he was dead?
Yes, ma'am, we knew it.
Well, then.
Miss Wilkers, are you connected with show business?
I follow it, that's all. Oh, I don't spend all my time reading movie magazines or anything like that. But I keep up with what's going on in the field. Do you know Allington was on television last night?
What's that?
The Late Show. Picture must have been at least 20 years old. He played the villain. Did a good job considering it was 20 years ago. Gives you a funny feeling, though, watching somebody who isn't here anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Now, as soon as you saw the name Allington on the check, you realized the guy was a phony and called us. Is that right?
Well, approximately.
Approximately.
Well, I told him I didn't know if I had the cash in the house. Said I'd have to go upstairs and make sure. I got an extension phone up there.
I see.
Then I telephoned you.
Uh-huh. One more thing, Miss Walters.
Well?
We've got a description, but it's rather vague.
Description?
Yes, that this guy's been passing himself off as Allington.
Oh.
All we know is he's medium-sized, gray hair, and fairly well dressed.
Well, that's about right.
But it's not very specific.
Can you add anything?
You mean you want to know who he is?
That's right.
Wilbur French.
Who's that?
Used to play bit parts in pictures.
Yeah.
I recognized him the minute he came through the door.
Miss Wilkers insisted her identification of the check forger was correct. We drove back to the office, checked the name Wilbur French through R&I. We had nothing on him. I telephoned Miss Breckhart at the SAG. She reported that French was a member in bad standing, 2 years delinquent in his dues. She had no address listed for him, but she was able to tell us that the last company he had worked for was a small TV outfit on Santa Monica Boulevard. She also told us that his file showed that he was last represented by a Paul Pilcher, an agent with offices on Sunset. January 14th, 9:35 a.m. I dropped Frank off at the Santa Monica TV company, and I drove on out to interview Pilcher.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I'd like to see Mr. Pilcher.
Are you a client?
Police officer. My name's Friday.
Oh,
Mr. Pilcher in?
not yet.
You expecting him?
Well, I don't know when exactly. Sometimes he plays tennis on Saturday mornings before he comes to the office.
I see.
But he'll be in. He's closing a deal with TRC.
Oh?
That's a studio, a new company just getting started.
I see.
Would you like to look at the trades while you're waiting? Yesterday's. They don't come out on Saturday.
Well, thank you very much.
Mr. Pilcher in some kind of trouble?
No, as far as I know, no.
That's a relief. Mr. Pilcher's office. I'm sorry he hasn't come in yet. Any minute. Would you like me to have him call you? I see. Well, if you'll try again in about 15 minutes, you ought to be here. Bye. Morning, Mr. Pilcher.
Good morning.
This gentleman's waiting to see you. And Mr. Brogan's office called. They'll call back. Mr. Brogan's getting shaved.
Yeah, all right. I'm a police officer. My name's Friday.
Police?
That's right.
What can I do for you?
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
All right, come on inside. Sit down.
Thank you.
Want a cigarette?
Yeah, thank you.
Here's the lighter.
Never mind, I have a match here.
Well?
You handle an actor named Wilbur French, Mr. Pilcher.
French?
That's right.
No, I don't handle him.
You used to be his agent, didn't you?
Oh, a couple of years ago, not anymore.
Oh?
What's he done?
Could you tell me where I could find him?
I wouldn't have any idea. Don't think he's had much work lately. At least I haven't heard about him working.
What was his last address?
Now, you come to the wrong man.
Well, the last address that you have for him.
I don't keep addresses of actors after they leave me.
Well, why did he leave you?
Usual reason, no work. Pretty bad as an actor. Excuse me, huh?
Yes? I'll put him on. Hello, George. How are you? Glad to hear it. And Mabel? Oh, that's a shame. Seems to be a lot of it going around this time of year. Well, what about Harvey? You make up your mind? Uh-huh. I sure don't agree with you there, George. He didn't look too old in the test. So he's been in the business a few years. You can't hold that against him. What do you mean a new face? You'll bring out somebody from New York who's been on television 100 times. There won't be anything new about his face. Look, I'm not trying to tell you your business. I'm just trying to set a good actor in the right part. I'll be through soon, Mr. Friday. Yeah. That's more like it, George. Now, how many weeks' work? No, George, I've read the script. Davis can't shoot that many scenes in 2 weeks. $1,200 a week, 4-week guarantee. Fletcher paid him $1,200 last fall. Go ahead and check. Look, George, if I was a Beverly Hills agent, you know what Harvey cost you? Well, I'm not going to argue with about it. You call Fletcher. He'll tell you what he paid Harvey. I'll be here till noon if you want to make a deal. Bye. Sorry to be so long.
Sure. Any suggestions on how I might get in touch with French?
Screen Actors Guild.
Well, they sent me here.
Oh. Well, what's he done?
We'd better talk to him.
Oh, the last time I saw him, he touched me for $10.
Where was that?
I bumped into him on the street. Is it serious?
It's just a routine investigation. Thanks very much, Miss Pilcher.
Wait a minute.
Yes, sir?
I suppose I could turn him up. Be a dirty trick, though.
I don't know why.
Maybe it's my fault that he's in trouble. I didn't get him enough work. Now I hand him over to you. Makes me a heel, doesn't it?
And you might be doing him a favor.
Well, he won't think so.
You said you didn't know where he lived.
Well, I don't.
Well, how will you find out?
Spread the word around that I got a job for him. He'll hear about it.
I see.
He'll turn up.
All right, sir.
Leave your number. When I hear from French, I'll get in touch with you.
Thank you.
I still feel like a heel.
Well, you shouldn't. You called the turn on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bad actor. I left Pilcher's office and picked up Frank. The TV company had given him a still photo from the last production in which French had appeared. 2 of the check victims readily identified the man in the picture. The 3rd victim was also certain it was the same person who had posed as Allington. January 16th, 3:32 p.m. Paul Pilcher telephoned the office. He told us French was living at a hotel in Hollywood on Selma Avenue. When we got there, the desk clerk said French was in his room, 17B.
That's it.
Yeah.
Who is it?
I'd like to talk to you, French.
Just a minute. Yeah?
We're police officers.
Like to ask questions.
Downtown.
What is this, a gag?
No, it's no gag.
Well, anybody can get hold of a badge. Who sent you? Mike? Sammy?
Come on, let's go, French.
Knock it off. I've been in too many pictures. I can tell actors from cops.
You ever hear of Parker Allington?
Yeah, I've heard of him. Worked with him in pictures. Used to be friends.
I'd give you the right to sign his name.
On bad checks?
Now, look, boys, I know why they sent you. I told Mike I got a call this morning about a job. It'd be just like him to pick a time like this. Some practical joker, isn't it?
No, it won't work, French.
What?
Come on, you know who we are and why we're here. Let's go.
It's one of Mike's gags.
Yeah, well, 3 landladies say different.
Oh.
You want to get your coat?
There was only a few bucks.
It was enough.
How'd you tumble?
One of the landladies knew Allington was dead.
I never figured he was that famous.
She knew you, too.
Me?
That's right.
Couldn't have known I was living here. Who told you?
Come on, let's go.
Pilcher. That's why I wanted to get in touch with me. I should have figured it wasn't about a job. Pilcher, wasn't it?
Come on.
Some agent. Couldn't land a job if your life depended on it. 5 years. Over 5 years I was signed with him. Never had a decent booking. Nothing that lasted. A couple of days here and there. Nothing that lasted.
Oh, don't you worry about it.
Huh?
This one will.
Wilbur Carl Flicker, also known as Wilbur French, was found guilty on 3 felony warrants charging forgery. He was sentenced to the state prison as prescribed by Section 470 of the California Penal Code for a period of 1 to 14 years.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, International Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Wednesday at 9, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's story of The Little Man's Lament.
They called it Margate Mansion, but the name didn't fit. It was a pile of old cement and cracked stucco held up by a half a dozen tired palm trees. The people inside didn't fit either. A crusty old lady who talked backwards, a redhead with an urge to travel fast. But it was Junior who won first prize. He was half Einstein and half Hollywood playboy. Only when this boy played, it was with poison. It started on a Tuesday. I was headed down Taft Avenue on the way to the laundromat. I had a date with a washing machine and a blonde cashier named Gloria. That's when a cab pulled up beside me and the Lion hopped out. He was blowing sparks out of a fat cigar. I could tell by the 50-cent smell that we had a new client.
Oh, Jeffrey, my boy, I'm glad I caught you.
Get back in the cab, Fatso. I'm busy.
But I have to talk to you. I was just going up to your apartment.
Have a good time. I'll be out all day.
Now, Jeffrey, is that any way to talk? After all I've done for you? After the many opportunities I've given you to help your fellow beings in distress?
I've worked 3 weeks without a rest. I gotta wash my socks.
Wash your socks? You can talk about a thing like that when I'm here to present you with a golden opportunity? An opportunity to demonstrate our humanitarian sentiments? A chance to lift one who's in trouble?
How much did you lift from him?
$100, and it's not a him, it's a her. Oh, it's really a simple job, Jeffrey. Very simple. I've just been over there. Lovely old house, fine old family. The Margates, flower of the old South.
Gone to see.
Well, yes. But you know how it is with descendants of old families. Fresh young growth choked back by the weeds of the old family stock. The fresh new plant smothered by decay and ruin.
Try Vigoro.
Regan, you don't seem to understand. We've been retained by Mrs. Margate. It's about her nephew, Hilary Margate. Strange youth, very strange youth indeed. If Mrs. Margate needs protection from him, I tell you, it's a very serious matter.
Well, so's my laundry.
Regan, will you listen to me?
There's another choice?
Yes. See Mrs. Margate, root out the facts.
Get her a gardener.
She doesn't need a gardener. She needs you, and don't give me any more trouble.
Okay, sweetheart. Here.
Wait a minute. What's it?
My laundry. Put the shirts and socks in a washing machine, put 2 bits in the slot. And stay away from the blonde. She doesn't like cigar smoke.
Regan, this means you will see Mrs. Margate?
Don't try to be coy. You knew I'd see her the minute you stepped out of that cab. I walked up Vine and turned right past Franklin. All the places up there are old, but Margate Mansion was old when William S. Hart was Gene Autry. A bunch of turrets made out of wood that termites wouldn't look at. But I was looking at what was standing in the front bay window looking at me. Red hair and wide eyes and a complexion like skim milk. She was what answered the door when I twisted the old-fashioned bell.
Hello. I saw you from the window.
Yeah, I saw you seeing me.
Come in. Come in, please.
Thanks.
I hope you don't mind the disorder. I'm afraid I don't... Your name?
Regan.
Oh. Sit here, Mr. Regan. Please don't mind the dust on the sofa. No one nice ever comes, so it doesn't matter. I like you. I want you to stay.
It shows.
You're not married or anything like that, Mr. Regan.
Nothing like that.
Oh, that's nice. I'm not married either, Mr. Regan.
I heard it was Mrs. Margate.
Oh, that's my aunt. I'm not married at all. Mr. Regan, you didn't just come to see my aunt.
I've got a lot of time.
Oh, I've been foolish again, haven't I? Oh, sometimes I get so mixed up. I'm...
Oh, wait a minute. Wait.
Yes, Mr. Regan.
What's your name?
Wesleyan?
Mrs. Margate's niece.
Yes?
Hillary's your brother?
Yes, Mr. Regan. All those questions.
Business.
Business?
International Detective Bureau. Your aunt's on the line for $100 worth.
A detective?
Well, that's polite for it.
Oh, you shouldn't have told me that. You shouldn't have told me that at all.
Suppose you tell me some things.
I'm mixed up, Mr. Regan. I can't tell.
Gwendolyn.
What's my aunt?
Did I hear the front door bell?
Don't say anything. Don't tell her.
I did hear the front door. Well, Gwendolyn, who is this man?
Regan.
Regan? Oh, you're the man they call the Lion's Eye. I've been expecting you. I'm gardening.
I should have figured.
What? Oh, I have a green thumb, as they say. Follow me. Go to your room, Gwendolyn.
Yes, Auntie.
Gwendolyn?
Yes, Auntie, I'm going.
She went all right, like a rabbit at a greyhound race. Only I wasn't sure this rabbit could stay ahead of the dogs. But right then I had another problem, keeping up with Mrs. Margate. It wasn't the way she walked, it was her talk that winded me.
Go to the garden. My niece and my nephew are problems that weigh heavily on my heart, Mr. Regan. Oh, this way. Family collapsing and falling to ruin. Just 3 Margates left. Myself and the 2 children, Gwendolyn and Hillary. Only 52 years old with such responsibilities.
Hillary?
No, myself, of course. 52. But Hillary's the real problem. You follow me?
Right behind you.
What? Oh, yes, out this door. The garden. There. You see that pool by the date palm?
Uh-huh.
Fish. Carp, Mr. Regan. He concocts things. Hillary brews things, poisons. One day he fed something he had brewed to Hilary F. Margate, Sr., the carp, and he turned bright green.
Hillary?
The carp. We found him next morning floating belly up, stark bright green. Hilary F. Margate, Sr., the carp. We name our fish after the dear departed members of our family.
Nice custom.
Yes. Hilary poisoned the carp when he was only 146 years old.
The carp?
Yes. Come along. Hilary was only a boy at the time. Such a problem, Mr. Regan. Oh, here, my vegetable garden. Have an onion, Mr. Regan. Delicious.
Yeah. Look, Mrs. Margate.
Eat the onion, Mr. Regan. George is my gardener.
I'm over here, Mrs. Margaret.
Oh, well, you can go out back and cut the weeds, George. Mr. Regan and I have some private matters to discuss.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, ma'am, George. Excellent. And be sure you get them all, George. We must be rid of the weeds.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
Now we're alone, Mr. Regan. The onion, go on, eat it. As I was saying, Hillary, that boy, such a problem.
Yeah, as you were saying.
Yes. Good, aren't they?
Mrs. Margate, what is it you want me to do?
Do? Well, I want you to look after Hillary.
I was told you wanted protection.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
No. Hillary needs a nursemaid. That's not our line.
No, see here, Mr. Regan. International Detective Bureau has already agreed to handle my case. Mr. Lyon himself accepted my check.
He'll accept anyone's check.
But he promised to help.
Well, then talk to him.
I'm talking to you. I'm explaining.
You're explaining nothing. You give me a lot of double talk, and I have a feeling that's all you want to give me. Now, make sense.
All right. You're going to force me to say what I hoped never to say to anyone. Not anyone. My life is in danger.
I can believe that.
My tea. Yesterday, I noticed the odor of almonds.
I'm listening.
No, I didn't drink it naturally. Naturally. Hillary brewed that tea, Mr. Regan. My nephew.
Now you've said something. Where is he?
Ocean Park, the shooting gallery.
Shooting gallery?
Yes, he's strange, very strange. He brews things, collects guns, practices shooting. You won't like him.
Suppose I go talk to him.
Well, you'd better. As I've said, Mr. Regan, I don't wish to be murdered.
I headed the car down La Brea to Olympic and then out to the Ocean Park Pier. It was afternoon business, popcorn and sailor style. The shooting gallery had one customer, a kid in a corduroy sport coat with a face like a cantaloupe out of season. He was taking shots at the little swinging targets. You didn't need the family album to figure him for Hilary Margate. I walked over, but he didn't take the gun from his shoulder.
Leeks.
Come again?
Leeks. Scallions.
My name's Regan.
Allium ascalonicum, Mr. Regan. Onions. You've been eating them.
So?
This suggests you're the private detective hired by my aunt. Bullseye?
You read palms, too?
I fancy myself an amateur detective, Mr. Regan. I seldom miss.
I notice.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Regan, I'm interested in hiring you myself.
Oh, that's a switch.
I think there's going to be a murder.
Anybody I know?
Yes, my aunt.
Who plays the heavy?
The heavy?
Who's going to kill her?
I am.
Practicing?
I don't need practice, Mr. Regan.
Even experts get the chair.
Possibly.
All right, Junior, let's start making sense.
Very well, Mr. Regan. My aunt is a domineering autocrat. Actually, I should hate to kill her. But I feel I must. To protect myself, you understand.
From what?
You know, I dabble in poisons, Mr. Regan. I am empoisonné, as the French say. Poisoner. When I was 15...
I heard that one, yeah. Hilary F. Margate Sr., the carp.
Oh, he died a horrible death.
My regrets. Now, get to the point.
Ours is an evil household, Mr. Regan. The last of the Margates, a decaying race. My aunt, for example, in Gwetland.
I met her.
Then you understand that something must be done. This is an urgent matter, Mr. Regan. It would be wise to take my case.
One Margate for a client's too many.
Very well, Mr. Regan. But you want information. Perhaps I'll give it to you tomorrow. I'll phone you. As they say on the radio, you may save a life. Possibly your own.
It made a real funny joke the way he said it. Only I wasn't laughing. And neither was he. I got in my car and started for town to tell the lion he'd been underpaid. All the way in, I kept getting a picture of a mechanical rabbit going around a track. I tried putting Grethelin's face on it, and Mrs. Margate's, then Hilary's. The others didn't fit. Grethelin's did. I was still thinking about it when I parked on Hill Street and got out to walk. And that's when I put another face on the rabbit, my own. The guy who fell in behind me and started following was no greyhound, but he had squeaky shoes that slowed down when I slowed down. We stayed together for a block, and when I turned left toward the office, he turned left. I wondered if he was an amateur. I found out when I sidestepped into an alley and pulled him in after me. All right, Buster, this is where you get off.
Hey, say, what the devil?
Come on, who hired you?
Let me go.
Give me some answers.
Talk. You want muscles, huh? Muscles? All right. I got him.
He had him all right, and he knew where to use him. He had a bald head, and he used that, too, right in the middle of my stomach. I shouldn't have bent double, but I did. It was a setup. The next blow sent me around the fender of a truck parked in the alley. I went to my knees. When I came up, it was too late. The bald head was gone. But someone else was there.
Mr. Regan.
It was Gwethelin Margate.
Mr. Regan, you should be careful. You all right?
He was following me.
No, Mr. Regan, no, he wasn't. I was going to your office. He was following me.
She was ready to talk, but the fog in my head wouldn't let me listen. I got her around the corner into a bar. She waited until the waiter brought the drinks.
2 bourbon straight, Mr. Regan. And if I may say so, this is a lovely tomato you're escorting into my humble palate.
You said so.
And may I say, Mr. Regan, I'm also partial to redheads. On account of my first love was a redhead. She played second flute in our orchestra.
Sure. Keep the change.
That was when I was with Stokowski. The Hollywood Bowl, how well I remember. Me and my fiddle. We made together beautiful music. Me and the fiddle, you understand, not the redhead. She gave me nothing but the cold shoulder on account she was hot for a guy that played bass.
Come on, you told me this story yesterday.
You don't wish to hear the story of my life, Mr. Regan? Well, it was the same way with Mr. Stokowski. The artist is lost in the world of today.
All right. Now we can talk.
I don't know, Mr. Regan.
Who was following you?
It doesn't matter. I'm used to it, Mr. Regan.
Who was the mug?
It doesn't matter, Mr. Regan. It's too late anymore. I thought...
You thought what?
I thought you'd help me, Mr. Regan. I was on my way to your office.
Why?
There's going to be trouble, Mr. Regan. Serious trouble.
What says so?
Everything. Hillary, my aunt, they're all acting so strangely. And those people who come to the house.
People? Who?
I don't know. But the man who was following me is one of them. Oh, something strange is going on, Mr. Regan. Something terrible.
You still haven't told me anything.
Don't you see? It isn't anything I can tell you. It's a feeling. A terrible feeling. Everything's wrong.
I've got to have facts, lady.
I don't... Wait. There's one thing.
Yeah?
The gardener, Mr. Hendricks.
George?
Yes. My aunt knows him, Mr. Regan. Better than just a gardener. Something else.
What?
George has been in prison. I know he's been in prison. I heard him say something once on the telephone.
To who?
I don't know. so much I don't know.
That makes two of us.
You don't believe me. You've got to believe me. Something terrible's going to happen.
Sure. Hillary's going to kill your aunt.
Hillary? Oh, no. That's not it at all. It's me they're going to kill, don't you see? They're going to kill me.
After that, I couldn't get anything out of her that made sense. I loaded her in a cab and then walked over to Pershing Square to feed the pigeons. Maybe something would come to me. Nothing did, except the pigeons. After a while, I went over to the Examiner morgue to look up George Hendricks. There was nothing, not a word. But the Lion has ways of finding those things out, so I went back to the office. The Lion had information, all right, but not the kind I expected.
Regan, where have you been? I've been calling every saloon in the city.
You got the wrong one.
I often wonder why I hired you.
Okay, Fatso, why the steam?
I'll tell you why. Because you were supposed to be on the Margate case, that's why.
What do you think I've been doing?
I know what you're going to be doing. You're going to get out to Margate Mansion right now and fast. They just found Hillary Margate in his room. He's been shot through the head.
This is CBS, and you're listening to The Story of the Little Man's Lament. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Here's a special word for those of you who are interested in setting up a retirement fund. One that will permit you to have some of the good things of life before you're too old to enjoy them. Join the payroll savings plan where you work and invest in United States savings bonds. Under this plan, your firm sets aside whatever sum you name from each paycheck and uses the money to buy savings bonds for you. Buy United States bonds and keep them. And now, back to tonight's story of the Little Man's Lament and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Nothing made sense. There were three Margates. The old lady, her nephew Hillary, and his sister, Gwethelyn. And all three of them wanted to hire me to stop a murder. Then the Lion tells me Hillary Margate has just been shot. Well, one thing was sure. With three people to work for, one of them was bound to turn up dead. I put the Lion to work looking up the gardener, George Hendricks. Then I hopped in the car and headed out to the Margate place off Franklin Avenue. By the time I got there, it was turning dark. Out front, a black and white Nash said, "Police," in big letters. But when the old lady opened the door, she acted as though she'd never heard of police.
Oh, Mr. Regan, please come in. I'm sorry you didn't get to meet him. Hillary, strange boy.
I met him.
You did? Oh, this way, Mr. Regan. Well, it's no matter. It was inevitable. Hillary's uncle, my husband, before he died, warned me something like this would happen. He was a young fool, Hillary.
How did it happen?
Happen? Oh, with a gun, of course. How else could one shoot oneself except with a gun? In here, Mr. Regan, we won't be bothered by them. Sometimes police can be so nosy. Do sit down. We shall have tea.
With or without almonds?
I know what you're thinking, Mr. Regan, but I'm sure it had nothing to do with it.
What did?
Just a moment, Mr. Regan. There's someone at our door. Well, Gwethelyn?
I was just coming to see you, Andy. I thought you'd want me to tell Mr. Regan about Hillary.
Yes, a good idea. Mr. Regan, I'll let Gwethelyn tell you. She was here at the time. Oh, she was a lovely woman. Gwethelyn's mother, my late sister. Well, go ahead, child. Go ahead.
I got home about 5.
Better sit down, child. No, not there. Here.
Yes, Auntie. Well, Mr. Regan, Hillary was in the gun room reading. I went in to talk to him, but he ordered me out of the room. He said he didn't want to be disturbed. He was concentrating.
Go on.
I left the room. A couple of minutes later, I heard a shot. When I went back, he was there. Hillary. On the floor, dead.
Then you called the police.
I told Auntie. She called them.
They've been so nice, the police. They promised not to disturb me any more than necessary. Wasn't that nice?
They're in his room now?
With Hillary. Dear Hillary.
Yeah, he won't need me anymore. I think I'd better be going.
Oh, yes, of course. Gwethelyn, see Mr. Regan to the door like a good girl.
Yes, Annie.
And come again sometime soon, Mr. Regan. We shall have tea together.
Thanks.
This way, Mr. Regan. Mr. Regan, I've got to talk to you this way quickly.
What's on your mind?
About Hillary. Something he did tonight.
Like what?
When he came home, before that, he had a book. A big book. He was reading it when it happened. Why would he read a book and then shoot himself?
You got me. What was the title?
I don't know. But when the police came, the book was gone.
Where did he buy it?
I don't know that either. I'm sure it's important, Mr. Regan. I'm sure of it. You don't think it's important?
I don't know. I reach for answers. Sometimes they come up air.
I know something else, Mr. Regan. It's about George. George Hendricks, our gardener.
Yeah?
He disappeared this afternoon after it.
Go on.
Auntie sent for him when the police arrived, but he wasn't in his room. The police were angry. They think he might have done it.
And you think so, too?
I'm not sure, Mr. Regan. I'm not sure of anything now.
She turned and ran into the house and left me with a lot of night air and cool breeze. If Hendricks had taken a powder, the police would check that angle. That left me with a book. A very big book. I walked down Franklin toward my car. Up ahead, I saw a small man in a black suit locking up a shop door. Over his head, a sign said Franklin Avenue Bookshop. That did it. I caught him before he closed up.
I beg your pardon.
You know Hillary Margate lives up the street?
Yes, I know him. Why?
Was he in today?
He's a regular customer.
Was he in? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did he buy a book?
No.
You sure?
Positive. He asked for a volume we didn't have.
What volume?
I don't remember the title because we didn't have it in stock. It was a textbook.
Textbook?
Yes, on horticulture. Plants.
Plants?
Does that mean something to you?
Yeah. It could explain why the Margate family has gone to seed. It was crazy, but it was beginning to untangle. I headed for my car up the street. Before I touched the starter, I found out I had company.
All right, Regan, drive.
The gun in my back told me he meant it. One look in the mirror told me he was George Hendricks. Well, you're calling him. Where to?
Your apartment. I want to talk. Have a chair, Regan. It's your house.
Thanks.
I talk. You sit and listen.
I can stand.
I say sit down.
It's your party, Hendricks.
There's been an accident at the Margate house.
I heard.
Hillary shot himself.
That right?
You think different?
Changed my mind.
I didn't kill him, Regan.
Who said you did?
I never could get used to confinement.
Oh. San Quentin?
Sandstone, Minnesota.
Tell me more.
Listen, Regan, the police don't like guys with a record.
What was your rap, Hendricks?
Checks, something like that. Forgery.
So why tell me?
You're moving in my direction, Regan. I don't like it.
Is that why you ran?
There's something else.
Yeah?
The name. It isn't Hendricks. It's Margate.
What's that?
Freehold Quincy Margate.
No wonder you changed it.
There were several reasons.
Yeah, Old South family.
Listen, Regan, you gotta believe me. I didn't kill Hillary. I didn't have anything to do with it.
You know a big guy, bald head with a stupid face?
Morley. He works at the Margate place, part-time.
What's his job?
Flunky. He works in the garden with me.
When he isn't tailing the girl.
Leave me out of that part of it.
Well, do I answer that?
Yes, but watch what you say.
Regan.
Regan, I expected to hear from you sooner. What's happened to you? Regan, are you there?
Yeah, just got here.
What's the matter? Someone with you?
You're a genius.
Well, I just found out about Hendricks.
You guessed it.
You mean he's there?
Go on.
Listen, that's not his real name, Regan. He's a Margate. Freehold Quincy Margate. Age 46, height 5'11", weight 180.
Get to the point.
Well, about that prison record, quite correct. It was 8 years ago. Charge?
Narcotics violation.
Well, yes, but be careful. He'll hear you.
No, he won't. He just went out the door, fast. I had what I needed. I averaged 50 down Franklin and pulled up in front of the Margate place 10 minutes later. It was dark and it looked empty, like a beer can after a picnic. I found an open window and crawled in. It was the gun room, and that meant I didn't have to go much farther. But somebody changed my mind for me when the door suddenly opened, and a hunk of orange lightning stabbed in my direction. I ducked and the chair next to me toppled over. I couldn't wait for the next one.
Let me go!
Drop it.
You're hurting my...
That's better. Now some lights.
Mr. Regan, I thought you were one of them.
I'm not. That book Hillary was reading. I'm in a hurry, baby.
You already know, don't you, Mr. Regan? All right. I didn't see it closely. It had pictures of plants.
Like the ones in your backyard?
Yes. I didn't know what it meant until...
Until Hillary got it, and then you were too scared to talk. Why?
Mr. Regan, Hillary didn't poison my aunt's tea. They only said he did so they could kill me and then blame him for it. That way they'd be rid of both of us.
Yeah, but Hillary caught on too quick.
That's why they killed him, Mr. Regan. Oh, don't let them know I know.
It won't matter now, baby. I circled around the house in a hurry. Empty. Then I tried the garden. That's when I saw it. 50 yards behind the house. A strange light at first, then something red that began to grow. Then smoke and more smoke. I ran to the back of the garden in the flames. She saw me coming.
Stand back, Mr. Regan.
Maybe tomorrow, Mrs. Margate.
I warn you, Regan. Stand back.
You hired me, remember?
Take one more step, Mr. Regan, and Morley will kill you.
You figured he'd be around? Put that gun down, Morley. The smoke's getting in your eyes.
No! Shoot him, Morley! Shoot him!
You're too late for that. I drove across the column of smoke and caught his arm as he tried to find me with that gun. I got to him first. I owed him something for what he'd given me in that alley, and I paid him back with interest. The old lady just stood there and glared at me, the fire reflecting in her eyes. It took me 10 minutes and my best sport coat to stop the blaze. But the price was cheap, because where the fire had been was a nice pile of Exhibit A. It looks just like an ordinary plant, but the police call it marijuana. Somebody spotted the smoke and called the fire department. The police were right behind them and loaded the last of the Margates into the wagon. And it was like Gweth said. She was scheduled to turn up poison, and I was supposed to testify that Hillary had done it. Only Hillary caught on too fast, and they gave him a bullet for his trouble. And after I finished up at headquarters, I went to the office and filled the lion in. He was disappointed.
And this fella the police picked up at the depot, this Hendricks, he wasn't the culprit we were looking for?
He was under the old lady's thumb like the rest of the family. She blackmailed him into growing the stuff. With his record, he couldn't afford to squawk.
He couldn't afford to squawk. How do you think I feel?
You got a check for $100, didn't you?
Well, yes, I did.
She did pay you, didn't she?
Well, you see, Jeffrey, that is, she gave me a check when I first went out there for $100.
You said that.
Well, I didn't think anything of it at the time, but... well, you see, her brother-in-law...
You mean...
Well, that is, Hendricks did have a prison record for narcotics violation, but, well, it seems upon examining the records more closely, there was an earlier sentence for,
bad checks.
Yes. It seems to run in the family.
I don't get paid this week.
Go on. Quit me. Kick a man when he's down.
Oh, stop it.
You know I never withhold payment when I have it. Right now, I don't have it. Maybe next week.
If you wait 2 weeks, it'll be Thanksgiving.
What's that mean?
You can have the end of the turkey I've been getting.
Jeffrey, you're not being kind. Remember my heart.
I'll try.
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you. Now, here's 25 cents.
For what?
Go over and pick up your laundry. I forgot to wait for it.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written by William Frug and William Fifield, directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard each week at the same time over CBS. Bob Stevenson speaking, and inviting you to be with us again next Wednesday at 9 for more suspense and mystery and adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the burglary detail. During the last 2 weeks, there have been a series of burglaries in the Valley Division. You haven't got a lead. Your job, find one.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 9th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary division. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We're on our way out to a recently completed housing project in the valley. It was 10:13 a.m. when we got to the corner of Moore Park and Victory. Mayflower Homes.
This one right here, huh?
Yeah, 224.
I guess they haven't sold them all yet.
Mm-hmm.
$500 down, not so bad. Pretty nice houses.
You thinking of getting a new place?
Oh, I was thinking. Kids are shooting up. We could use a little more room.
Mm-hmm.
Just what Faye always wanted. House nobody else has lived in. Well, someday, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
We're police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, how do you do?
Hi.
Somebody reported a burglary at this address. Are you Sam Brighton?
Yes, sir, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Would you show us where he broke in, please?
Oh, yes, sir. It's in the front bedroom. Just this right here. That's it, yeah. Just off the hall here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this window here, you can see where he jimmied it.
Yeah.
I was careful not to touch it. You know, fingerprints.
That's good. Can you give us a list of the things he took?
Well, no, sir, not for certain. We were just getting moved in, and we don't know for sure what's gone. A couple of silver trays and a pair of candlesticks, they're missing.
Any cash?
Oh, about $20, $25. When I changed to go out to dinner last night, I left it in my trousers. They were in the other bedroom on the back of a chair. Pretty dumb place to leave money.
Your family live here with you?
My wife.
I see.
We've only been married a couple of weeks. Things he stole, they were wedding presents.
That's too bad.
Sure is a heck of a way to start out. Being married, I mean. Never wanted a house in the first place. Well, it's their own fault.
What do you mean, sir?
Sally's parents insisted on giving it to us, the down payment part. Sally will never be able to manage a big place like this. She's just a couple of years younger than I am. Just a kid. Apartment's what we ought to have. No point in arguing with in-laws, though. I found that out pronto.
Yeah. Any idea what time the burglary took place?
Yes, sir. Between 6 and 10 last night. Must have been then, between 6 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
We went over to Sally's folks for dinner. Our refrigerator hasn't been delivered yet.
I see.
The reason I'm so sure about the time is I wanted to find out how long it would take to drive there.
Mm-hmm.
I told Sally it wouldn't be more than 15 minutes. First time she's ever been away from home, she kind of likes to feel that her folks are handy.
I understand.
Hollywood Hills, that's where they live. Off of Mulholland. Took us 14 minutes. Left here 6 o'clock exactly. News was just coming on the radio. Got there 6:14. I'm not so sure when we got home, but it was right around 10 o'clock.
That's close enough.
Of course, I didn't know about the burglary then, when we got home. We just went straight to bed. Didn't come in here. We used the back bedroom.
Yeah.
It wasn't until this morning when I started looking in my pants for cash.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible he broke in while you were asleep?
Well, I might have slept through it, but not Sally. Least little thing wakes her up. She'd have heard him. Must have happened while we were out.
Have you noticed anybody suspicious hanging around the last couple of days?
No, sir. Of course, we're brand new in the neighborhood. Most of the houses aren't even sold yet. We wouldn't know who was suspicious and who wasn't.
Be all right if we talk to your wife?
Oh, she couldn't tell you anything I haven't.
She here now?
Over to Mother's. This kind of thing, well, kind of threw her, you know. You know how it is, just a kid.
Yeah, we understand.
Wish it had been me that found out about the bird.
The bird?
Well, didn't I tell you? I meant to.
No.
Darndest thing. Parakeet. Somebody gave it to Sally when she was a girl. Taught it how to talk. Talk real good, too. Why should a burglar do a thing like that?
What did he do, turn it loose?
No, sir, he killed it.
We talked to Mrs. Brighton at her parents' home. She was unable to add anything to what her husband had told us. 1:15 p.m. The crime lab reported that there were no useful fingerprints on the Brighton window. Pictures were taken of the jimmying marks. There was no other physical evidence. September 11th. 2 more burglaries took place in a new housing tract near Sepulveda Boulevard. The burglar had followed the same M.O. used on the Brighton house. One victim also told us that 3 pet canaries had been killed. The other victim had no pets.
By the end of the following week, 4 more burglaries had occurred in new housing developments. In each case where the home contained pet birds, the bird was killed. Other pets were not disturbed. Circulars describing the stolen articles were sent to all pawn shops in the city. September 21st, 8:05 a.m., we checked in for work. Oh, man. What's the matter? You still asleep?
Yeah, I didn't get a wink last night. He was at me all night.
No?
It's my own fault, Joe. Never should have told her about all those new houses going up nowadays. It was a big mistake.
Well, I thought you told me you were considering a new house.
Yeah, I changed my mind. We got enough people staying with us as it is. Faye's relatives. Brother-in-law Armin, you know.
Oh, him, huh?
Yeah, he's down here. As long as he has to sleep on the living room couch, he'll take off after a day or two. Give him a real bed, and he'd stay with us for the rest of his life.
I get it. Burglary Friday. Yes, sir. When did it happen? I see. Just a minute, please. All right, go ahead. That's 214 South? Yes, sir. I've got it. Right. Well, we got another one.
Yeah?
Pet shop over near Lancashire Boulevard.
The shop?
Uh-huh.
That doesn't sound like our boy.
Might be if they sell birds. We left the office and drove out to the Biggs Pet Shop on a side street in North Hollywood. 9:07 a.m., we interviewed Jasper Biggs, the owner of the store. He told us that during the night, the back door had been forced open. $17 was missing from the cash register.
Money ain't important, you understand. Not that anybody likes being robbed.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Besides, it's happened before. That's why I keep this sign up here on the register that tells them how to open it.
I see.
A couple of years ago, a fella broke in and wrecked the machine trying to get it open. That cash register's worth a whole lot more than anything I keep in it. Shut up over there, all of you! Dang much racket in here, a person can't even think. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah, about the money. Now, like I said, it don't matter, the $17.
Yeah.
Birds is different. They do matter.
Sir?
Well, he killed all of them, every last one.
I see.
Parakeets, canaries, parrots.
Mm-hmm.
Parakeets and canaries, now, they don't matter. I can replace them. Insurance will take care of it anyway. Them parrots is another story. It's a different story entirely.
Yes, sir.
2 of them was on consignment, worth over $100 apiece. $100. Bet you never figured birds run that high, did you?
No, sir.
Well, they do. Parrots, anyway, some of them. And what's more, my insurance don't cover birds on consignment. How do you like that?
Huh?
Check with the fellow who sold me the policy right after I called the police. Says birds on consignment aren't covered. Loophole. That's what it is, loophole.
Yes, sir.
Probably somebody wanting to buy them parrots. Be just my luck. Biggs Pet Shop. Who? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're still here. Just a minute. It's for you.
Thank you. This Friday. Yeah. Okay, give me that address. All right, I got it. As soon as we can. Right?
We got another one?
Tracked off Riverside Drive.
Same routine.
One thing's different.
Yeah.
Some lady saw him. We ended our interview with Mr. Biggs, and we drove out to the address of a Mrs. Nellie Diver, who had just reported a burglary. Mrs. Diver told us her house had been entered shortly after she left to do her marketing. She discovered she'd forgotten her grocery list, and she came back for it. When she returned, the burglar was in the dining room. He had entered through a side window. The M.O. appeared to be the same as in the other recent burglaries.
Never saw such a surprised look on a man's face in my life. He just stood there like he was frozen solid for a minute or more. And then he lit out through the back door like it had split.
Uh-huh. How long were you gone from the house, ma'am?
5-10 minutes. As soon as I remembered about my list, I started back. I don't know why I'm getting so forgetful. Old age must be catching up with me.
Well, it's a good thing you did forget, Miss Diver.
Hmm? Oh, you mean so he didn't get time to steal anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing around here worth stealing. Wonder how he happened to pick me. It'd be different if I lived up in Bel Air or one of those estates.
Well, if it's who we think it is, he's satisfied with smaller homes.
You mean he's pulled this kind of stunt before?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't say.
Do you think you'd recognize the man if you saw him again?
I beg your pardon?
The man who broke in here. You said you got a good look at him.
Oh, real good. Stood there in the dining room for a full minute, maybe more.
Then you'd recognize him, would you?
I don't see why not. This isn't the first time we met up, you understand.
How's that?
Saw him once before.
Well, when was that?
Last week sometime, I'm not certain. Wednesday or Thursday, middle of the week, in through there.
You sure it was the same man?
Looked the same. Came right up to my door.
Well, what do you want?
I'm not certain of that either. I've been racking my brain trying to remember. So many fellows around here last week, 2 or 3 milkmen trying to sign me up. A couple of people wanting me to take newspapers, 3 or 4 asking about dry cleaning, somebody selling rugs. Spent half my time running to the door. So help me, I can't remember which one he was. Getting old, sure as fate.
You think he was just pretending to be a door-to-door salesman of some kind or other?
Seems to me they were all trying to sell something. It's what always happens when you settle in a new location.
Yes, ma'am. Wonder if you'd mind coming downtown with us for a little while.
No, I wouldn't mind. What for?
We'd like to show you some photographs, see if you can pick the man out for us.
Right now?
If you could, yes.
Well, you just give me a minute to get my hat and change Henry's water.
Henry?
My canary out in the kitchen.
Oh.
Haven't you noticed the way he's been... Oh, that's funny.
Ma'am?
He's usually singing up a blues streak this time of day.
We went into the kitchen with Mrs. Diver, and we found the dead bird. She agreed to accompany us downtown. 11:05 a.m. We pulled the mug shots of burglars who matched the description that she'd given us, and we showed them to Mrs. Diver. She identified one of the photographs, Stanley A. Bushing. Bushing had done time in the state penitentiary as a cat burglar. From his 510s, we learned his acquaintances and the places he was known to frequent. 3:36 p.m. We located Bushing in a bar on North Main. Stan Bushing?
Yeah?
Police officers.
You don't say.
Want to talk to you, Bushing.
Be my guest.
Come on, let's go.
What's the matter with right here? Joint don't get noisy until later on. Why not right here?
Where were you last night?
What time?
All night. And this morning, 8 o'clock this morning.
Why do you want to know?
All right, come on, let's go.
Well, give me a chance to finish my beer, will you? Look, you boys want to know where I was last night? All right, I'll tell you. I just want to know why, that's all.
You been up the valley lately? Well, come on, how about it?
Oh, that's why you're after me. Oh, you think I've been pulling those house prowls?
What do you know about them?
Well, I read in the papers.
You know more than that.
I do?
There was another one this morning.
That's news to me.
That's so.
Yeah, I haven't bought a paper yet today.
Lady saw you.
Huh?
Right after you broke in.
Me, huh?
She says it's you.
Well, she needs glasses.
Well, we don't think so.
Look, you'll never make it stick.
We're going to try, fella.
I'm clean. Not even on parole no more.
It won't be parole this time.
It won't be anything.
Oh, come on, Bushing. Quit stalling.
Look, don't get yourself in an uproar. Take it easy. You'll live longer. Suppose I got an alibi.
Well, who tried for size?
For all night and this morning.
Go on.
I was with friends.
We got a lady who says different.
I got a lot of friends.
Yeah, we know you're friends. We'll settle for the lady.
10:30 last night till 9 o'clock this morning with them every minute.
Where?
You ain't going to like it.
Where were you?
You're going to look pretty foolish.
Come on, let's have it, Bushing.
Drunk tank, Lincoln Heights Jail.
We verified Bushing's alibi with the booking sergeant at Lincoln Heights, and we learned that he was in the clear as far as the previous night was concerned. 5:06 p.m. We interviewed Mrs. Diver again. She wavered in her identification of Bushing's photo, and she said she couldn't tell us anything more. Teletypes of the suspect's description were sent out. The next day, Tuesday, September 22nd, we had a meeting with the skipper, Captain Bernard.
Well, where do we stand?
Just about where we did when it started.
It's not good, is it?
No, it's not.
We thought we had him yesterday, Skipper, but it didn't pan out.
You have a description?
Well, if she's no better at describing him than she is at identification, it doesn't mean much.
We figure he pretends to be a salesman of some kind.
That how he cases the houses?
As far as we can tell, yeah.
You need a lot more than that.
No.
This guy's got to be stopped. It isn't just the burglaries. Seems half of the people in L.A. keep pet birds. I don't know. My kids have a couple of canaries themselves. You get attached to them like you do anything else.
Yeah, I know.
You boys seen the mail on this thing?
No, sir.
Letters from all over, not just in town here, all over. People are raising Cain. My own kids asking me when we're going to catch him. Can't wait any longer for a break. We got to make one.
Well, you got any ideas?
I don't know. We've just been working housing projects, huh?
Except for that one pet store, yeah.
Well, let's forget the store and see if we can get a pattern out of the houses.
Well, they're all new places. Folks have just moved in. He cracks one or two in each development, and he moves on. So far, he stayed in the Valley Division out there.
The way they're building up out that way, he won't run out of targets.
No.
They opened any new projects last week or so?
Yeah, a couple.
He tapped them yet?
No. We alerted the owners, told them to warn anybody who moves in. Probably won't do much good, though.
Might. If you two moved in.
Wednesday, September 23rd. We drove out to a new tract just off Coldwater Canyon Boulevard. It was called White Manor Homes. We found the tract office near the main entrance, and we went inside.
Gentlemen, what can I do for you? Are you interested in owning a new home?
We're police officers, sir. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Police?
That's right, sir.
Well, I don't think I've had any parking tickets lately.
We're from burglary.
Oh, about the Birdman, I suppose.
How's that?
Yeah, that's what they call him in the papers, you know, the Birdman.
Yes, it's about him.
He hasn't been around here.
Well, no, sir, not as far as we know.
Well, that's a relief. Not that it makes much difference.
You're in charge of this project, are you, sir?
Yes, sir. My name's Simple, Forrest Simple. I've got a card right here on the desk.
That's all right, Mr. Simple.
I own White Manor Home.
I see.
I guess I should say me and the bank. We own it together.
Yes.
It's all going to belong to the bank, though, the way things are going. Been open nearly a week now. Haven't sold a single house. Haven't even had a decent offer.
Oh, what's the trouble, sir?
Now you know what's the trouble just as well as I do. Birdman, that's the trouble. Folks just aren't going to move into any new developments until he's caught. Sent me a circular last week, the police department. I'm supposed to warn anybody who buys from me. Put them on their guard.
Yes, sir.
Don't need any warning. They're scared off as it is. 3 months ago, I'd be half sold out by now. Seems to me you fellows are dogging it. Now, I'm not telling you your business, mind you, but it seems to me you should have picked him up before this.
Yes, sir. Maybe you can help us.
How's that?
Well, the sign out in front says that 2 of your houses are furnished. Is that right?
Oh, that's just for display. Westman's department store did it. Figures it's good advertising.
Yes, sir.
Of course, I don't sell them furnished, just for display.
We'd like to use one of them for a few days.
Use one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't follow you.
Well, sir, you've got a sold sign that you can put up in the front yard, haven't you?
Well, I guess so.
Well, we'll see that nothing's disturbed. If anybody asks, you tell them that a new couple moved in.
Oh, I get you. Decoys, huh?
Yes, sir, something like that.
Well, I don't know. Department store might not go for the idea.
Well, we'll clear it with them.
Well, if it's all right with them.
Thank you.
How long do you suppose it'll take?
How's that?
To catch him.
Well, your guess is as good as ours, if it works at all.
It better work. Pressure's building up. You fellas don't know what it's like being under pressure. Owe the bank a lot of money on this project. Figured I'd have at least half a dozen houses sold by now. At least half a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
Interest to be paid is the principal, and the bank expects it on time. You can't blame them for that.
No, sir.
You don't know what it's like having the pressure turned on.
We get a little every once in a while.
Oh, well, that's different. Your boss rides you and tells you to get on the ball. You don't have to worry. He can't fire you. Cops are civil servants. Pressure from your boss? Well, that's different.
Not coming from him.
Well, where's it coming from?
Guy who kills birds. We telephoned the Wesley department store and we talked to the manager. He gave us permission to use the house that they'd decorated. At a neighborhood pet store, we purchased a cage and 2 canaries. It was 11:30 a.m. when we got back to White Manor Homes. Mr. Simple was putting up a sold sign in front of one of the houses.
What you got there? Oh, canaries, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, here's the key, in case you want to lock up. Door's open now.
Thank you.
Want me to spread the word?
What's that, sir?
That I've sold this place?
We'd appreciate that.
Okay, I'll see that it gets around.
Thank you.
Man, some layout, huh?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, great. You know anything about taking care of birds?
Well, I don't think there's much to it. Just water and seed, huh?
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Get a load of that couch.
Yeah.
Boy, must be 8 feet long, if it's an inch.
Just about.
If they ever sees this place, I'm dead.
What'd you tell her?
Oh, we were on a job. I certainly didn't go into detail.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what it would cost. To fix a joint up like this, how much it would cost?
More than we make.
Yeah. Nah, probably wouldn't be very comfortable anyway. Not like having your own stuff you're used to.
No.
Hey, boy, they're really setting up a storm, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're kind of cute, too. Hey, you know, Joe Fay might like a couple of birds. They're good company for her when the kids are in school.
Well, maybe you can have those.
I never thought of that.
If he doesn't get them first. No one came by the house that afternoon or that evening. At 6 p.m., Frank went home. I stayed through the night. Thursday, September 24th, 9:15 a.m. We had our first visitor. Frank waited in the bedroom while I talked to her. She was a young lady who said that she represented the local Chamber of Commerce. She told me her job was to welcome newcomers to the neighborhood. She gave me some maps and a book of coupons which could be exchanged for free introductory gifts at various stores in the vicinity. During the rest of the day, we had 4 more callers. 2 newspaper agents, a representative from a dry cleaning establishment, and a charity worker. As far as we could tell, they were all genuinely fond of birds. 4:45 p.m., a small old truck pulled up in front.
Look, coming up the walk.
Pretty close to Miss Diver's description, isn't it?
Yeah. Want me to get out of here?
Yeah, better if he only sees one of us, huh?
Right.
Okay.
Lady of the house here?
Out shopping.
Oh, I'll come back.
And what's it about?
I'd rather talk to her.
Why?
I'd like to take over your yard. I'm a gardener, mister.
Oh. Well, I'm the one to see about that. Why not?
Ask a man for a gardening job. He says he'll do it himself, weekends and after work. Don't understand how much work it'll be. Wife knows better and knows her husband, too. She's the one hires me.
Well, maybe I'm different. It's a pretty big yard. Plan on spending my weekends on my back.
I don't blame you.
Come on inside for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
How much would you charge for a yard this size?
Want me to handle watering, too?
No, I guess we can take care of the watering.
Well, I'll come once a week, then mow the lawn, look after your flowers, do weeding, planting.
Well, we're pretty well landscaped now.
Well, you'll want some of your own plants. Could use a couple more roses alongside there.
That's possible. What's the matter?
No, I'm just looking around. Swell place you got here.
How much for the yard work?
$25 a month.
Nice steep.
Big yard, said so yourself.
You'd only be here a couple hours a week, you know.
Oh, 25 is the best I can do. You think it over. I got to be sure now.
How about 20?
Sorry, mister.
Not worth any more than that. Got plenty of gardeners for 20, you know that.
Up to you. Ain't got any other jobs in this neck of the woods. I have to drive all the way out here.
How'd you happen to find us then? I say, how'd you happen to find us then?
Well, I heard about this project. I thought more of them would be sold by now. Guess you're the only people moved in, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more.
Probably will be before long.
Well, if I pick up any other customers in the project, I might come down. 25 for now.
Ready, can't swing that.
Well, you think it over. I'll drop back there, so. Somebody here most of the time?
Most of the time, yeah.
I'll drop back.
Oh, shut up, will you?
What?
I wasn't talking to you. Those
Oh.
canaries are
Yeah.
crazy.
What's wrong with them?
Well, they're a nuisance. They're always screeching to get on somebody's nerves.
I guess you don't like birds.
Well, I could do without these.
Well, why don't you get rid of them?
Oh, my wife would blow her sack.
Ah, yeah.
Pride and joy. You know, she talks to them all the time. Baby talk to
Yeah,
them.
just like my old lady.
Your wife keep birds too, does she?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, when I was a kid, cages all over the place. I had 15, 20 birds.
Well, I guess I'm lucky we only got these.
Yeah, you're lucky, you know. I had a dog once.
Yeah?
Rusty, that was his name. There's a mutt. Only dog I ever had. Killed one of her canaries.
All right.
It wasn't his fault. Bird got loose. He didn't know no better, just playing with it. Didn't mean to kill it.
Sure.
He got rid of Rusty. My mom did. Sent him away. I don't know what happened to him.
That's too bad.
Never had another dog after that. He wouldn't let me, just words. Just lay awake at night listening to him sing. That's what she called it. Didn't sound like singing to me. Wouldn't cover him over. That was cruel to cover him over. That night long, I had to listen to him. Like you said, gets on a fellow's nerves.
Yeah.
I sneaked downstairs, took them out of their cages. Maybe they'll try. Killed them all. All Mom's birds. Well, I couldn't stay after that. Ran away from home. Wish I could have stayed. Wish I could have seen her face next morning. Made it up for Rusty.
Yeah.
I still keep hearing them, though. Have to keep killing them over and over. So many birds. Folks put them in a cage, lock them up. Feel sorry for them afterwards. Don't make sense. I don't feel sorry for something just because it's locked up.
You might.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 12th, the hearing was held in Department 98, Superior Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Philip James Borch was examined by 6 psychiatrists appointed by the court and found to be mentally incompetent. He was committed to the state mental hospital at Mendocino for an indefinite period of time.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the Bunko fugitive detail. A pawnbroker tells you he suspects a swindle. He isn't sure. Your job? Check it out.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, May 18th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Bunko fugitive detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 7:55 a.m. when I got to room 38. Bunko fugitive.
Never know. Hi, Joe.
Morning.
You remember Fred Alpin?
Oh, sure. Hi, Fred.
Hi. Hold my own, Sergeant.
Well, what's new?
I'm not sure. Maybe just wasting my time. Yours, too. Fred thinks he stumbled onto a con game, Joe.
All right?
Don't look that way to me, anyhow.
Yeah. Well, what's the stain?
Well, I was just telling Smith here. Yeah. A fella came in last night, a little guy. He was kind of timid. Probably never been to a pawn shop before. At least he wasn't a steady. You know, I can spot them straight off.
Yeah.
Wanted to pawn a ring. Got a big green stone. Fancy setting. All gimmicked up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Man's ring. Real fancy, though. Asked me what it was worth.
What'd you tell him?
Worth $20, maybe 25.
Is that what you told him?
You know I can't loan full value. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
I offered him $5. I would have gone up to 10 if he'd have pressed me. That's better than a lot of brokers would give.
Did you take the 5?
Are you kidding? He went all to pieces. Thought he was going to have a hemorrhage. Started calling me a crook. Said the ring was an emerald. Shouted, screamed all over the place. It's an emerald, he said. A $5,000 emerald. That hunk of glass.
Are you sure you didn't make a mistake, Fred?
No, I ask you, Sergeant. Would anybody try to pawn a 5G emerald with me? I ask you. Glass, that's what it was. Green glass. A nice setting, though.
What do you think, Joe? Well, the old diamond switch, maybe. Could be. Sounds like the only difference is the color. You get his name, Fred?
Yeah, I asked him. He just shouted and carried on, though. He wasn't making any sense at all. Got his license, though.
Oh?
Yeah, he's parked right in front of the place. Got the number when he drove off. Thought you might want it.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it out. Put it in my pocket. It should be right here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, here it is. A match folder on the inside. You make it out all right?
Yeah, I think so. We'll check it.
Uh-huh. Might be a good idea if you got right on it, huh?
What do you mean?
Well, just before he left my place, he stopped all that carrying on. I think it sunk in what I told him about the ring being no good.
Yeah.
Got real quiet, you know, kind of like he was making up his mind about something.
Yeah.
Asked me to sell him a gun.
Fred Alpin gave us a description of the man who had tried to pawn the ring. We called our branch of DMV and asked them to check the license number. They came up with the information that the automobile bearing that license was registered in the name of Garfield Hunt at 221 North Selma Avenue, Hollywood. 9:03 a.m. Frank and I drove out to talk to him.
Well, it sure is a clear day. Look at those hills, Joe.
Well, I read in the paper you can see for 40 miles.
Yeah, I bet.
Morning.
Who are you? What do you want?
Is Mr. Hunt here?
No. No, he's not here.
Well, he lives here, doesn't he?
Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. We're police officers.
Police?
That's right. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Where is he? What's happened to him?
Mind if we come inside? Be a little easier to talk.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, I forgot. Sofa's still made up. Slept down here last night, so I'd be near the phone. Thought he might call. Thought somebody'd call.
Your husband didn't come home.
Never happened before. Not in 37 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Just let me fold up that blanket so you
Here,
can
I'll
sit
give
down.
you a hand,
Oh, thank you.
You got any idea where your husband might have gone, Miss Hunt?
No. No idea at all.
What time did he leave?
9:35. Looked at the clock as he went out the door. Couldn't believe it. Not like Gar to go out that late. We're usually in bed by 10.
Yes, ma'am.
He promised me he'd only be gone an hour. Promised me he'd be back by 10:30 for sure.
I see.
Never heard a word from him after that, not a word. What do you suppose happened to him?
We're sorry we don't know, Miss Hunt.
Well, you must have some notion.
Sorry, we don't.
You said you wanted to talk to him.
Just a few questions, routine.
What about?
Well, we'd rather talk to him. You notify the police that he's missing?
No, I didn't know what to do. Figured you'd get in touch with me when you found him. Guess I wasn't thinking very good. Never happened before.
Yes, ma'am. Are there any friends you might be staying with, relatives?
We don't know anybody else from Los Angeles.
I see.
Just moved out here last winter from Kansas. Children are grown up, settled. Gar sold the business. We moved out here. Kansas winters can be pretty cold.
Yes, ma'am. Is your husband retired?
Yeah, he should be. He worked hard all his life. He deserves a rest. Had a little trouble with his heart last year. No, not a real attack. But the doctor told him to take it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Not Gar, though. Wasn't out here 2 months before he got all restless and fidgety. Just couldn't take it sitting around the house. Started up again.
In business?
Yes, sir. We had a tailor shop back in Kansas. Gar found a new business district opening up in the San Fernando Valley off Magnolia Boulevard. They were renting cheap, right at the beginning, wanted tenants.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do much business at first, but things have been getting better. Gar's a good tailor. A lot more careful than most. Learned his trade young. The days when there were tailors.
Yes, ma'am. You try to reach him there at the shop?
I called last night 3-4 times. This morning, too. Nobody answered.
I see.
You think you can find me?
We'll do our best.
I guess maybe I should have notified you last night.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't know what to do. Thought you'd get in touch with me if something happened.
Well, better to call us first.
No, I guess so.
Then it might not happen. Mrs. Hunt gave us a description of her husband. We advised her to make a formal report at the Valley Division. A local and an APB were sent out. 3:15 p.m. Patrol car unit 9L78 reported Hunt had been found sitting in his car. The car was parked on Mulholland Drive. Hunt had readily identified himself. We asked the officers to bring him in for questioning.
Hi, Joe, Frank.
Pete?
Hi, Pete. Here he is.
Thanks for spotting him for us.
Sure, anytime.
Want to sit down, Hunt? Go ahead, sit down.
What do you want with me?
Just like to talk to you, that's all. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I've never been under arrest before, not once.
Well, now you're not under arrest now, Mr. Hunt.
And what am I doing here? Why did those officers make me come with them?
Well, you didn't go home last night. Your wife's been worried about you.
Well, I was going home when they found me. Wasn't any place else to go. Sarah oughtn't to have called.
She didn't call, sir.
Well, how'd you find out?
You tried to buy a gun. Pawn shop over on Main Street.
Oh.
Well, what'd you want the gun for?
I wouldn't have hurt him. I just wanted my money back. I thought I could scare him. That's all. I don't know nothing about firearms. Thought maybe I could scare him.
Who'd you want to scare? Now, who were they?
Well, they said they was renting a store next to mine. Said they was jewelers that opened up a Valley branch for Lassingwell. You know, the big jewelry store downtown here?
Uh-huh.
Crooks. That's what they were. Out-and-out crooks. Went looking for them early this morning. Back door to their store was open, the one next to mine.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I couldn't find hide nor hair of them. The place was empty. Just a couple of fakes. Had the windows soaked over so nobody could see what they were up to. Pounding on some old boards, making me think that they was remodeling.
Uh-huh. How much money did they get from you?
Not them exactly. Fellow working with them. Must have been working with them. Only way it makes sense.
Well, now, suppose you tell us about it, will you?
He come into my shop the day before yesterday, along about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Called himself Norman Christ. He said he was from Greeley.
Really?
That's a town in Colorado where my brother lives.
Mm-hmm.
Said he knew my brother Ed back there.
What do you want with you?
Well, he claimed that Ed asked him to look me up, see how I was doing. Probably didn't know Ed at all. They must have told him, them jeweler fellows.
Uh-huh.
I got to thinking back. Remembered I mentioned having a brother in Colorado one day when we was having lunch. Told him the town, too, Greeley.
What happened then? Did he sell you the ring?
Oh, you know about that, too.
Well, you tried to pawn it, didn't you?
No, sir, not really. I just wanted to find out how much it was worth so that I could tell Sarah, I was going to surprise her. Figured that I'd give him another day before I tried to sell it.
Well, how'd you happen to buy it?
Oh, I wasn't buying it outright. I was just loaning him on it.
Mm-hmm.
Told me he had a chance to option some property out near Encino. Real bargain. Said he had to close the deal by 5 p.m. that same day. He needed cash for a clincher.
Mm-hmm.
Had to get the money from Colorado. That's what he said. He was afraid he wouldn't be here in time. He couldn't go to the bank, didn't have any credit in L.A.
Uh-huh.
Needed $3,000. He said that if I'd loan him the $3,000, he'd give me back $4,000 first thing the next morning. Offered me his ring for security. He said it was worth $7,000 easy. Said it cost him more than that.
You hand the money over?
No, sir, not by a darn sight. Told him I didn't have $3,000. I told him straight out.
Uh-huh.
Said all I had was $1,500 in my savings account. I guess I shouldn't have said that.
Very nuts, sir.
He told me he might be able to swing it for $1,500. He'd have to go out there and see him in person. Said he'd come back.
Did he leave then?
No, not right away. I stopped him. I told him there was no point in coming back. I'm no jewel, I said. How do I know that ring's worth $7,000? Told me to get it appraised while he was gone. Told me to take it to any jeweler I wanted to. Seemed like he sure trusted me. Even a valuable ring like that kind of sold me on him.
Mm-hmm.
I went next door to ask those fellas who said they was jewelers. Place was locked up, so I figured they was still out to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I figured maybe they was in the drugstore down on the corner, see?
Did you find them up there?
Yes, sir.
What'd they say about the ring?
Perfect emerald. That's what they said. One of them put a gadget up his eye, looked through a... You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. No.
Perfect emerald worth $10,000. Not the flaw in it.
Mm-hmm.
Acted like they thought it was mine. Offered to buy if I wanted to sell. I told them about the other fellow. That he needed $3,000. I told them the whole story. I did.
Uh-huh.
They said they'd loan him $5,000 without batting an eye. Offered to make out a check right then and there. Kind of took my wind away. They were so anxious. I said maybe we could go in 50-50. They put up $1,500. I'd put up $1,500. That way, the guy would have $3,000 if he still needed that much. We could both make a little profit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
One of them asked me how I wanted the check. Should make it out to me. I told him, make it out cash.
You remember how he signed it?
Jones. Quincy Jones. That's the name I knew him by. Other one called himself Wyatt Truesdale. I don't think that's their real name. Do you? Probably one of those, what did you call them?
Aliases.
Yes, sir, yeah, that's it. Well, anyway, I went over to my bank and drew out the $1,500. About 2:30, the fellow came back, the one who gave me the ring.
Yeah.
Said he tried to talk the real estate people into being satisfied with $1,500. Wouldn't come down. Insisted on the whole $3,000. I told him not to worry, that I had it. Give him my $1,500 in the check. He said the check would be okay, seeing as how it was on a local bank. He promised that he'd pay me back the next morning.
That'd be yesterday.
Yes, sir. And when he didn't show up, I wanted to make sure just how much it was worth, the ring.
Mm-hmm.
In case something had happened to it. In case he didn't come back for it. That's why I went to the pawn shop.
Mm-hmm.
Offered me $5 for it. The man in the pawn shop. Couldn't believe him at first. Said it was just glass, hunk of glass. Then a great light broke on me. How I'd been tricked. All of a sudden it come to me.
Well, why'd you stay out all night? Why didn't you go home?
Well, you see, sir, I couldn't face Sarah. I knew I'd been swindled. $1,500. Every cent that we'd saved. Been married 37 years. It was Sarah's money, too.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because she's my wife. They helped earn it.
Well, we'll try and get it back for you, Mr. Hunt.
Not much to show for 37 years, is it? That's what I kept thinking while I was sitting in my car up there in the hills. All day long, just kept thinking. 37 years. $1,500. I'll have to tell her, won't I?
Well, sir, I think that's up to you.
She'll know it anyway. She'll know something's wrong.
Yes, sir.
Too late to start all over. We won't have them. There's another chance.
Have what, sir?
Another 37 years.
We continued to interview the victim, Garfield Hunt, and he gave us descriptions of the three suspects. The stats office came up with 24 possibles. We showed the mug books to Hunt. He identified two of the photographs, Ernest Wilcoxon and Paul Cleaver. Hunt was positive that Wilcoxon and Cleaver were the men who had rented the store next to his and had pretended to be jewelers. He was unable to find a photograph of Norman Christ, the man who had sold him the ring. We pulled the packages on Wilcoxon and Cleaver. They had both done time for burglary. They had not previously worked with a third person. We called the Lassingwell Jewelry Company. They informed us that they were not opening a branch out in the valley. We checked with the owners of the building in which Hunt had his tailor shop. They told us the adjacent store had been rented on a weekly basis, and that the renters had said they intended to use the space for temporary storage. A local and an APB were sent out on all three suspects. 5:13 p.m. Using the information from their mama sheets, Frank and I began checking various places where Cleaver and Wilcoxon had been known to hang out. 7:12 p.m. We went into the Black Parrot Bar on South Broadway, and we talked to the bartender.
Not by them names, I don't know them.
Well, maybe these pictures will help.
How about it?
Yeah, they come in here once in a while.
Yeah, that's what we heard.
Always come in together?
As far as I know.
Ever bring somebody with them? Tall, thin fella, about 30, blonde hair?
No, just two of them. Never seen them with another guy.
I see.
What do you want them for?
You know how we can turn them up?
They ain't here now.
We can wait.
Won't be in tonight.
How do you know?
They got money.
Oh?
Big roll. The red-headed one was in yesterday. Quincy Jones. That's what he told me his name was.
Yeah.
Been running a tab. He paid it up in full. I had plenty left over.
Is that right?
As long as they're carrying a roll, they don't come to my place. Head for them expensive joints, like out on the strip, places like that. When they've blown their loot, they come back to me and start running up another tab. I called them on it, but what can you do? This is where I get some of their bundles.
Uh-huh. You know where they live?
Around here somewheres. I couldn't pin it down for you.
Who could?
How bad you want to find out?
What do you mean?
It'll cost you a drink.
You that thirsty?
Not for me. Girl over there in the corner booth, the blonde.
Oh, yeah.
She knows him. Been out with him a couple of times. I've seen them leave together.
All right.
I was just kidding about that drink. It's on the house. For you guys and her, too.
No, we don't want anything.
And we'll pay for hers.
It's up to you.
Hi.
Good evening, miss.
You're new, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Place could stand some new talent. Here, I'll move over.
Thanks. Thank you.
What's the matter with this side?
We're police officers.
How do you like that?
Ma'am?
Horoscope said I was going to meet somebody new today. In the morning paper?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say there'd be cops.
Oh, your yard plate.
Where'd that come from?
These guys.
You shouldn't call them guys, Jake. Fellow buys a lady a drink, that makes him a gentleman. From these gentlemen, that's what you should say.
Oh, sure.
To your very good health, gentlemen. Now then, what can I do for you? I'm at your service.
The bartender says these guys are friends of yours.
Oh, I wouldn't say those pictures do them justice, but there is a resemblance.
You know them, then?
We've met. We weren't formally introduced, but we've met. Meet a lot of people in here. Not the best people in town, maybe. It's not the best bar in town, but it's convenient. I work down the street.
Uh-huh. You know where these men live?
Huh? Oh, you mean these two so-called friends of mine?
Yeah.
Am I?
Well.
Did you ever hear of the North Cross Arms Hotel?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been there with them, of course. I'm not sure that's their residence, but Quincy was carrying a hotel key, and one night it fell out of his pocket. I think that was the name on the tag, North Cross Arms.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the brandy.
Don't mention it. All right, what do we owe you?
6 bits. She drinks good stuff.
There you go. Keep the change.
Looks like I got one decent break.
That's so?
Them paying their tab today before you pick them up.
No, they didn't pay it.
Huh? Who did?
A man named Hunt. The clerk at the Norcross Arms Hotel told us that two men who resembled Wilcoxon and Cleaver were registered under the names of Jones and Truesdale. He said they'd gone out for the evening. He showed us up to their room, 36A. We asked him about the suspect known as Norman Christ. He told us he'd never seen anybody with Wilcoxon and Cleaver who answered Christ's description. 2:48 a.m. Wilcoxon and Cleaver returned to their room. We took them into custody and drove them down to the city hall for questioning.
How many times you want to hear
Until
it?
we get the truth.
Does Hunt say he gave us any money? He never gave us a cent, did he, Ernie?
No, we even paid his lunch tab a couple of times.
That's right. Always managed to out-fumble us. Owes us a couple of lunches.
He paid him back.
What?
$1,500 buys a lot of lunches.
What $1,500?
You got your share. You've been spending all over town.
Hunt say he gave it to us?
You still had over $600 when we picked you up. Now, where'd it come from?
Hollywood Park. Picked 3 long shots yesterday. You want the names of the horses?
Where's Chris?
Told you before, never heard of him. Who is he?
The guy you worked the game with.
Never heard of him.
You want to take this rap yourself?
What rap?
Why'd you rent that store out in the valley?
Store?
We showed him your mug shots, the man you rented it from. He made you. You want it in person? How about it?
Guess they got us there, Ernie.
Yeah.
We were going to open up a bookie joint.
Is that right?
Yeah, we changed our minds, looked the situation over, decided it might get a little warm out in the valley, and cleared out.
Bookie joint, huh?
That's right.
Not a jewelry store.
What are you talking about? Us jewelers, Ernie and me?
That's what you told Hunt.
Nothing of the kind. Laid it on the line. Told him we were bookies. Just between us, he was kind of pleased about it. Likes to play the horses himself. Liked the idea of being able to lay a bet so convenient.
You're a liar.
Now, look. Say, maybe that's what happened to his money. Maybe he lost it on a nag.
Come on, let's try it again. Now, why'd you rent the store?
You're going to get the same answers. Same questions, same answers. It's a waste of time.
We got plenty.
72 hours. That's all you got. You can hold us on suspicion for 72, then you can turn us loose unless you prove something.
We'll prove it.
How? We didn't take any money from Hunt. Nobody says we did, even him. If he was a mark for this, what's his name, Chris?
That's right.
How do you wrap us into the package? Hunt never saw us with him. Nobody saw us with him.
We'll find somebody.
72 hours, and you got to turn us loose. That's the law.
Is that right?
We know the law.
Why'd you break it? We continued to question the suspects, but we were unable to break them down. Thursday, May 19th, 7:45 a.m. Another team of detectives took over the interrogation. Frank and I went back to the office.
Think they'll cop out, Joe?
I don't know. It doesn't look like it, does it?
No, not unless we turn up Chris.
Did you call your wife?
Yeah, sure bawled me out. Kept dinner waiting till after 10. You're lucky.
Well, maybe.
Wonder if I'll get home tonight.
I got it. Bunko fugitive, Friday. Yeah, that's right. Sounds like him. How long ago? Uh-huh. Yeah.
Chris?
Fits the description. Smashed up a car on the Hollywood freeway. Georgia Street recognized him from our teletype.
You able to talk?
Died 10 minutes after they brought him in. At the morgue, the victim, Garfield Hunt, identified the body. He was positive it was Norman Christ, the man who had sold him the ring. Wilcoxon and Cleaver were also shown the body. They denied that they'd ever seen Christ before. The next day, Friday, May 20th, the evidence against Wilcoxon and Cleaver was taken to the district attorney's office. The complaint was refused. The evidence was deemed insufficient to bring the matter to trial at this time. Wilcoxon and Cleaver were released. 6:05 p.m. Frank and I got ready to sign out.
Well, that really tears it.
Sure does.
The DA's office knows they're guilty. We know it and can't do a thing.
Yep.
I guess we've been wasting our time, Joe, just fanning the ball.
Well, I'll tell you, we've spotted them, and they're going to stay spotted.
Yeah.
Next time they move in on a mark, we'll make it stick.
It wouldn't be very smart of them to try it twice.
They're not smart.
Huh?
They tried it once.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
2 months later, on July 12th, Wilcoxon and Cleaver were apprehended for a similar crime. They were charged with 1-count grand theft. On November 6th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Ernest T. Wilcoxon and Paul Cleaver were found guilty of 1-count grand theft and were sentenced to a term prescribed by law. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for a period of not less than 1 year, or for a period of from 1 to 10 years in the state penitentiary.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.